Hi team, good afternoon. I can see that we have a couple of team members over here. That's Vishal and Lakshmi. I think one of the team members is also joining in. Ishwari, right? Okay. Hey Lakshmi, hi. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hi. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. What about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Okay, I can see that we have Ishwari as well in the call now. And so we have overall three team members right at the moment. Okay, that's perfect. All right, team. So what do you say? Let's have a quick round of introduction. So before we start our session, and then we will move ahead and we will cover the different topics within Informatica. All right. So we were discussing about the introduction. So we'll follow three steps only. I just wanted to understand that what is your overall experience taking Informatica, and from where you are based, and what is your overall expectations from the current session, and then we will move ahead. Okay. Hey Lakshmi, just unmuted you.
Yeah, I
Please.
have recently taken Informatica training, and
Okay.
I have a couple of questions to ask you, and how we face the interview and all.
Sure, definitely. We'll go through that. I'll take up your questions as well. Thank
Yeah,
you. Thanks
thank
for
you.
joining in. Let me speak to Vishal. Hey Vishal, how are you?
I
Right.
I do have few questions. Not just want to see how this whole session will go on. Just join to know what kind of questions they are going to ask like that.
Perfect. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Definitely. Thank you. Okay. So that's Selam, right? Selam, am I
Yeah,
audible to you?
yeah. Hi, I am Salam Hassan. I have 7 years of experience in Informatica. I just want to have some clarifications in the scenario-based interview questions. And no, it's
Okay.
been some years since I attended my last interview, so just wanted to brush up for the future role.
Perfect. You are at the right place, Selam. We will be discussing a couple of scenarios, and it will definitely help you today. All
Perfect.
right. Welcome.
Mm.
Thank you. Let me speak to Bindu. Hey Bindu. Hi.
Hi, I already completed my Informatic course, but I don't have
Mhm.
any experience on that. So I would like
Okay.
to start my career on this. And I would like to know about the real-time environment and the interview questions and how to present myself as an experienced.
Sure. You're at the right place, Bindu. Welcome. Welcome on board. And we will be discussing about the interview questions, how exactly the current IT industry or the market is looking ahead for the Informatica developers. We will discuss these things in our current session today. Just to let you know about me, my name is Abhishek. Overall, I have 10 plus year of industry experience. I'm working with an organization, it's MNC, and I'm working there as a data architect, and I'm into the interview panel as well. We will try to understand that what all are the things that can come across during our interview sessions. Okay? All right, so let's move ahead with the session today. Overall, if we no, let me hear it from one of the team member. I think that everybody has gone through with the course content. So, what is your understanding on different ETL tools? Let me hear it from Lakshmi. Lakshmi, would you like to elaborate that? What do you mean by an ETL tool, and what all are the different ETL tools that are present in today's IT industry? Give me any 2 to 3 examples. That will do.
Yeah, data stage and ab initio.
Mhm.
Some more retail tools were there.
Yes, that's correct. So as Lakshmi just explained that there are a few, she just took the name of the few of the ETL tools that are present in today's market. Informatica is one of the leading, it's not one of the, it is the leading ETL tool at the moment, the integration tool that we have in today's IT world. If I'll talk about Informatica, they have covered 70% of the total market of around the globe. And the second leading will be your data stage, because that's an IBM product and they are providing n number of things also within data stage with data stage. Because IBM's policy is just like they provide a complete suite of the tools. Like they will be providing your ETL, they will be providing your database, your reporting on Cognos, then your MDM, metadata management, as well as master data management also. So people take that also. So that's a second leading provider. But if I'll talk about Informatica, Informatica has a couple of products. No matter whether we'll talk about integration, whether we are talking about master data management, or we are talking about Informatica data quality, that's IDQ for data profiling. So all these activities Our Informatica is also providing end-to-end solutioning or that a particular project or an organization need. See, we need to go ahead and pull up the sources, cleanse the data, rearrange it in a structural format, and then populate it to the data warehouse. So that's end-to-end solutioning is being provided by two leading industries, rather companies. One is Informatica, and the other one is your IBM data stage. If I talk about, as you can see in the current presentation, the annual revenue of Informatica Corporation in 2015 was 1.06 billion, right? And if we'll talk about 2021, it is expected to be $10 billion, right? So that's a huge amount of difference in a short span of time, isn't it? So we have a couple of openings that is present in Informatica, and companies are looking for candidates who have Informatica experience. Then I'll say, if you can see here that overall Informatica has partnered with over 550 organizations. That's a huge number. And it is catering to over 12,000 customers in 104 countries, different countries. So that's a huge number, which gives us an insight that yes, there are a lot of openings that is present in today's industry. If I'll talk about ETL industry, Informatica is the leader on the same. Okay, all right. Silam is saying my voice is not audible. Let me unmute one of the team member. Let me see if I'm audible to everyone or not. Oh, I can see Jayant over here. Hey, Jayant. Good afternoon.
Hello, Abhishek. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So what about you?
I'm good. Thanks, Abhishek. I can hear your voice clearly.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, Jayant. So you have completed your training?
No, it's still like tomorrow we have a class, right? I'm still continuing the training.
Okay, that's perfect. All right, no worries. All right, so you are at a good place to learn about the interview questions, different scenarios. We'll be discussing it today. All right. Okay, Jayant, so welcome. Let's move forward to our session. And if you have any questions, you can definitely ping me on the question window, or I'll unmute you and then we will discuss it. Okay? Thank you. All right, team. So I think I'm audible to everyone, and Silam is also saying that yes, now it's good. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's move ahead. Overall, if you see, we were talking about the job trends. That's a major key factor. If I'll talk about myself also, then I want to grow myself in such an industry that is going to have lots of job opportunity. I just put in the technology name and see that how much or how frequent is the jobs that are coming into the today's in that portal, and then I prepare myself accordingly. So that should be the mindset of each and every one, and that's why we are here. So if you see Informatica job trends, India as well as in US. So these are the job postings, right? On different portals, they have captured this information. So Informatica has average salary of jobs, if I'll talk about, that's the highest one, 215,000. On the right hand side, the bar says itself, right? That's the highest one. Okay, so it's if you see on the left hand side, right, this is a classification where how many Informatica developers are required comparative to architects, administrator, consultants, specialists, analysts, leads, and project managers. So the count of developers is the most. We can understand that yes, Informatica developers requirement is very much in today's IT industry in order to go ahead and manage the data, to populate the data. So Informatica is playing a key role over here. Right, so if I'll talk about today's agenda, right, we'll cover a few of the interview questions. We have the interview questions in the presentation, as well as we have classified that in different segments. It can be a general interview questions, which will be covering your data warehousing concepts, the data integration concepts, wherein an interviewer wants to go ahead and find out or look, he or she wants to go ahead and see that how much understanding you have regarding the complete environment. The second thing that we are going to cover will be the transformation related questions. As we know that we have multiple type of transformations that we use within Informatica. So we will be discussing that. Post that, we have an important concept of lookup, which is present within Informatica, wherein we can go ahead and look up a specific table. It doesn't matter whether it's present in source or target. We can look up that table. We can fetch up the required records. So we'll go ahead and discuss those also. And then we'll come to a scenario-based questions, including the workflow-related questions as well. And finally, we have few of the administrator interview questions that we have at the moment. We'll discuss those also, because If I'll talk about the administrator part, a person, or if he or she is going as a developer, right, for the job, he should be able to understand that what an administrator activity, what is an administrator activity, what all are the things in which an administrator contributes, right? So we'll discuss those things as well. Okay, so let's move on further. If I'll talk about a few of the general interview questions, right? Let's go ahead and discuss those. Difference between star and snowflake schema. That's a patent. The first question that is going to be asked to anybody. Are you aware of a data warehouse? If you say yes, so what do you mean by a data warehouse? And then which type of schema you have followed in your previous project? That's a patent question that any interviewer is going to start with. They want to understand that whether it's a star or a snowflake, which type of schema that you have followed in your last project and what's the difference between them. Okay, so let me hear it from one of the team members. If I'll talk about, hey Jayant, I've just unmuted you. Have you ever heard about a star or a snowflake schema, Jayant?
Yeah, yes, Abhishek. Star schema basically is one centralized table surrounded by multiple tables. We call the centralized table as a fact table and the centralized tables as a dimension table. So it's a kind of star with a fact table in the center surrounded by the dimension tables. So the fact table will have only measures and it will have the foreign keys to all the dimension tables.
Perfect.
That's a star. Yeah, when we talk about a snowflake schema is a kind of star, but when we have the fact table in the middle and the dimension table surrounded by that fact table, there is a possibility that one or more of these dimensions will again join another dimension table. So it's not a proper star. There is a star kind of schema, but the dimension tables surrounding the central table, they can join to the other dimension tables.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Thanks for your explanation, Jayant. That's absolutely correct, team. So if I'll talk about the star and the snowflake, so that's a major difference, that in a star, we have a centralized main fact table, right? And which is going to be surrounded by multiple dimensions. But if I'll talk about snowflake, those dimensions that are surrounding the fact table can also be dependent or can also be fetching the details using the other dimension tables. So let's move ahead and let's see that what's the difference between a star and a snowflake schema. So these all are few of the major or differences that is present between a star and a snowflake schema. If we talk about a snowflake, there will not be any redundancy, right? But in a star, it has a redundant data, right? So it is less easy to maintain in case of star schema, whereas if you talk about snowflake, obviously it's a clean data, no redundancy is there. So it will be helpful for us to go ahead and maintain and change it accordingly. So that's one of the major difference. If I'll talk about the ease of use, right? So in case of snowflake schema, we have more complex queries, right? Because it's a snowflake, it is dependent, there will be multiple joins that we are going to use because those dimensions are getting the data or from some other dimensions. So it will be complex in nature. But if I'll talk about star schema, right? So low query complexity will be there and it will be very easy to understand. Now, moving ahead, we have if I'll talk about performance, right? So more foreign keys will be there, obviously, and hence longer query execution. Vice versa with star, as there will be less number of foreign keys and hence short queries to execution time, right? The query execution time will be less in case of star. Then we have types of data warehouse. It is good to use for data warehouse core to simplify complex relationship. That is many to many. That is in case of snowflake. Whereas if I'll talk about star, it is always good for a data mart. Okay, let me understand if you know the difference between a data warehouse and a data mart. Let me unmute one of the team members. Let's unmute Lakshmi. Lakshmi, what do you say? Do you understand that what exactly is a data warehouse and what do we mean by a data mart?
Yes, yeah. Data mart is a subset of the data warehouse.
Data mart is a subset of data warehouse, right? Can you give me an example so that all other team members can understand that?
Like if you take particular domains, like for customer, if you have multiple domains in the data warehouse, like customer.
I got it. I got it. Okay, let me elaborate.
Customer as a data mart. Only customer related data, you can take it as a data mart. Yeah, only particular thing.
Perfect, Lakshmi. So that's correct. The answer that Lakshmi provided is absolutely correct, that data marts are the subset of a data warehouse. If I talk about a data warehouse, I'm just taking an example of a bank. In a bank, we can have multiple departments, right? It can be a finance department, which is handling the complete financial transactions or from a ATM machine, or if a person goes to withdraw the money directly to the bank counters. There can be multiple departments like insurance, then mutual funds, or the shares or the stakeholders. So there are multiple departments. If I talk about a data mart, each and every department will be a data mart in a data warehouse, which will have all of its relevant information, right? And consolidating all the data marts, it will come as a data warehouse. So the classification is done because we should know, or while creating a data mart, all the relevant or all the required attributes should be gathered in the fact tables, right? All of these, because if we are going to miss any of the entities, right, and then we are creating a data warehouse, and later on if we need it and we don't have that, so it will be a complete rework, right? So that's why data mart and a data warehouse concept arise. All right, so if I'll talk about joins, obviously we have already discussed that there will be high number of joins in case of Snowflake and low number of joins in case of star because of the dimensions table. In case of star, the dimensions will be less. In case of Snowflake, the dimensions will be more, isn't it? So obviously it will be a higher number of joins in case of Snowflake. All right, if I'll talk about a dimension table, we have already discussed that a Snowflake schema may have more than one dimension table for each dimension, whereas a star schema contains only single dimension table for each dimension. Okay. Now, if I'll talk about when we should use which type of schema, right? So when dimension tables are relatively big in size, right? Snowflaking is better as it reduces space. Obviously, we will be segregating that high volume. If I'll take an example, I have a department table or I have an employee table which have huge amount of data, right? Then and the columns are also big. So obviously the Snowflake will help us because we can divide that table, we can partition that table, we can divide it, we can normalize that table, and we can get all the relevant information. But if when dimension tables contains less number of rows, if we have less number of data over there, then we should prefer the star schema. That's a good approach. Okay, what about a normalization and denormalization? The dimension tables are in normalized form, but fact table is in obviously denormalized form, right? It is both applicable to both, whether it's a star or a Snowflake. The facts will be always in denormalized form, but the dimensions will be in normalized in case of Snowflake, whereas it is in denormalized form in case of a star schema. Okay, Lakshmi is asking, I have a quick question. As an Informatica developer, how do we involve in creating data model? Okay, Lakshmi, you will not be involved in creating a data model. Let me repeat the question that Lakshmi just asked in. She's saying, as an Informatica developer, how do we involve in creating data model, right? So we have a separate team who is going to create the data model of a particular project or of a particular database, right? But you will be handed over with the source to target mappings. The source to target mapping is nothing, or T2S mapping we can say, the target to source. You will have the target already created by the help of data modeler and your database administrator, and you will have the source information as well. And which column of source should be populated to which column of target, this information will be available within the target to source mapping T2S document, or it will be handed over to you either in form of SQL query. They will give you the SQL query and they will ask you to implement it using ETL, or they will give you the target to source document. Okay, so data modeling, you will not be indulged in that, but yes, the documentation will be handed over to you so that you can develop your jobs with the relevant logic and the columns. Okay, hope I answered your question, Lakshmi. Perfect. All right, thank you. Okay, so let's move ahead. As we know that the type of approach or the data model, it will be a bottom-up approach in case of Snowflake, whereas it is top-down approach in case of a star schema. So that's the difference between star and Snowflake. I hope you must be clear now. Bindu is asking in real time which schema we use. In real time environment, it depends from project to project. Bindu. Most of the times, we generally go ahead and use Snowflake and star both. I'll say that it's equal proportion. It depends from project to project. What is the requirement? How big is the project? How big are the departments? So these all are the things that are the major factor. So it depends that which type of schema they are following. Okay. All right, Bindu. Hope I answered your question. Perfect. Okay. All right, team. So let's move forward. Okay. What is Informatica PowerCenter grid processing and its benefits? Okay, grid processing. Guys, anybody who is aware of grid processing, can I get a quick reply? What do we understand by grid processing? Any idea on that part? Can I get a quick reply on the question window so that I can unmute the team member? Sure, Bindu is saying can you unmute me? Okay, Bindu, let's hear it from you. Yes, Bindu, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much knowledge on that, but from my training, I got some information on that. So according to my knowledge, grid processing is nothing but we will arrange the nodes in the grid, like which we install the Informatica in it, and we run on some nodes like the client components. On some nodes we can run like the server components. For that purpose, we will use the grid. And we can also see what are the nodes are present in that particular grid in the administrator console, administrator browser. And I think so in that grid we can also see integration service, repository service, and everything, the information related to that. But I'm not aware of how the communication will be happening between the nodes which are there in the grid.
I'll let you know. Yeah. Sure. As Bindu said that it's about the grid processing is about communication between different nodes. So whenever a PowerCenter domain contain multiple nodes, right? Obviously, PowerCenter domain will be having multiple nodes. So we can easily configure the workflows and session to run on a specific grid, right? And when we run a workflow on a grid, the integration service comes into the picture. They come into the picture. The integration service, right? They run a service process on each and every available node of the grid in order to go ahead and increase the performance, the scalability. So they're going to increase that, right? So integration service plays an important role over here. And whenever we are going to run a session, right, a session on a specific grid, right? So again, the integration services distribute the session threads, right, to multiple DTM processes. I'll let you know that what exactly is the DTM process. I hope you should be aware of that, but we'll discuss it in more detail. But this integration service distributes this session threads into multiple DTM processes on different nodes that is present in that particular grid, right? And this again helps in case of performance, in case of scalability again, right? So if I'll talk about how exactly we create a PowerCenter grid, if I talk about different grids. So first of all, just try to understand that grid processing is a feature of PowerCenter that enables workflows and sessions to run across multiple domain nodes. And it will be helpful for the integration service is going to help in this part, right? And what's the key feature and advantages? As it's written here, it's for load balancing, high availability, dynamic partitions. All these are the benefits, right? So and we were discussing about the creation of grid. We can easily go ahead and create the grid and configure the Informatica service going into the administrator console. So that's Informatica administrator's job, that he can go ahead and configure it with the help of admin console. Okay, and if we'll talk about in order to run a workflow on a specific grid, right? We configure the workflow to run the integration service just associated with that specific grid, right? So that's settings that is done on the administrator console part, and they can go ahead and help us for the load balancing, high availability, and dynamic partition. So that's the grid concept that we have. As we have multiple nodes in the domain, so they come into the picture and we can distribute the tasks. That's the grid processing basically. And the benefits is already mentioned here, right? Jayant is raising his hand and Silam. Okay, Silam is raising his hand. Okay, yes, Silam, please go ahead. Yes, Silam, I've just unmuted you. Yes, Silam, you can speak up now. Let me unmute Jayant. Hey, Jayant, am I audible?
Yes, Abhishek. So my question here is, during when we study the architecture, you said there will be one gateway node and there will be multiple worker nodes, right?
Right.
It is the responsibility of the gateway node to route the request to the worker nodes.
Correct.
So how different is this PowerCenter grid processing when compared to that gateway and worker nodes?
Okay, if I talk about a gateway and a worker node, gateway node will have all the relevant information of a specific worker node. Like if I'll give you an example, I have a gatekeeper who is present in my colony, and he knows that which flat have or who is living in which flat, right? So when a person arrives and he's going to speak to a gatekeeper and he's going to ask, I need to go to this person's place, he will go ahead and route the request accordingly. But if I'll talk about grid processing, this is the overall on the architecture side, that how exactly it's going to route the processing, right? How exactly it's going to be distributed to different work. So with the help of integration service and grid processing, we are doing this thing at the background side. You got me?
Okay. So there will be one integration process that does this job?
There will be integration service that's been created while the installation. If you remember, when you was doing the installation, there was the integration service that you created. So that comes into the picture over here.
Okay, the other question is, Abhishek, using this power grid processing, let's suppose we have a workflow with which is running 20 different sessions. Okay. Can we run 10 sessions on one node and the other 10 sessions on the other node?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
Because that we need to configure, but we can do that. No problem with that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. I can see a couple of raised hands. Let me go ahead and I'll unmute you one by one. I'm just unmuting Silam. Silam, I've just unmuted you. You can go ahead. Hey, Silam, am I audible? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I had a session in which the grid processing property was enabled, but what happened? The job started to run very slow, so we reached out to our retail admin, and he said, we have to disable that option. Enabling the grid processing option, will it cause performance issue? We are using two nodes here.
No. See, actually, it depends. It depends on the workflow that you was executing. That it is required, or it's going to create any issues or not. Right. So when you spoke to your administrator, did you try finding out the reason that why exactly he's asking you to disable that?
He said, the different objects of the same mapping would be running on the different nodes, so it would take time like that.
Okay. I'll say that if I talk about the administrator part, then there must be some specific reason. As he said, it's the same object. I think there was same sessions. You said, right, in the same workflow. You were executing it in different nodes, so that can so that can cause the performance issue because they need to switch the different nodes. It's on the architecture side. I have some idea on that part. I can update you that not the exact thing that why exactly he asked you to do that, but as per my understanding, as same workflow was switching into two different nodes again and again. So obviously that will delay. There will be a lag between them, right? But if all the sessions are going to reside in one single node, then obviously the performance will be fast. So he himself gave the explanation that itself explains it, isn't it? So I think that's the reason why exactly he asked you to switch off or disable the option.
Got it.
Okay. Hey Silam, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I got it.
Hey Silam, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. Let me speak to Bindu. Okay, let me speak to Bindu. Yes, Bindu, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually I had some two queries. Here you're saying the grid processing we will be having different nodes. So in real-time scenario, I mean, if the interviewer asked about the grid processing, whether your project, which you past projects are on the grid processing or not, so how we should answer that at that situation? What else challenges we can see?
Truly speaking, if you're going to appear for a developer interview, right? I am into the interview panel from past, I'll say 4 years now, and we always try to understand that whether person is aware of the grid processing or not. But we never cross-check that whether or which type of grid processing they were using in their last project, because a developer is not going to understand, or obviously they will not have the exposure of the grid processing, that how exactly they are managing the load balancing, because that's an admin kind of work.
Okay.
Right? So you should have an idea that what grid processing is, but how it works or what all other scenarios or challenges you face, so that is not relevant actually.
Okay.
Okay, Bindu?
Yeah. And one more thing, actually if we have a partitioning, I mean we can run one half of the partitioning on one node and the second half of the partitioning on the other node. Is it possible?
As per my understanding, if we are going to we partition the workflows, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, when we distribute the sessions execution in different nodes, the partitioning can be done in the different nodes also, or can be executed in different nodes also.
Okay, yeah, got it. And one more question I already posted in the chat window, like high availability is refers to the recovery license, that one only?
High availability of that particular node so that they can easily, when we are switching from one to another and from node 1 to 2, 2 to 3, obviously the execution of your job is going to be fast because the load balancing, again, the load balancing, the availability feature will come in, right? Because the node is not the only one who is going to process all the requests. So obviously it will be fast.
Okay, I
Right.
thought it was an recovery license,
Yeah.
which we see in Workflow Manager. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. All right, team. So let's move forward. Let's see that what do we have next? Partitioning. Okay. Now, what is the benefit of partitioning a session? Would anybody like to speak up on this part? Or let's go ahead and see that what's that? Partitioning, right? Partitioning options, obviously, as we all know, it's going to increase the performance, right? Through parallel data processing. We will be processing the data in parallel, as we can see. Yes, that's correct, Bindu. I got your answer on the question window. Okay. And if I'll talk about partitioning, if we are partitioning a session, that means solo implementation sequences within a particular session. You can see that it's obviously for performance basis. We can go ahead and partition a particular workflow or a session. You can see here. Now, the partitioning option will let us split the large data set into smaller subsets in parallel to to get a better session performance. I'll give you an example. A few days back, I believe that 1.5 years back, when I was given a project wherein there was a huge amount of data and they were trying to load it. And it was taking around 3.5 or 4 hours. I don't remember exactly, but it was taking a huge amount of time. So they asked me to go ahead and optimize that particular job. Now, what I did, the first thing that I did the partition and I checked that how much it can benefit. It benefited. Obviously, it will benefit, but not up to that extent. So I used different methods like I tables, populated the data into the parallel jobs. So overall, the main motive of discussing this point is that we can easily partition a particular workflow. We can partition a particular job, right? It will break it into small chunks, execute it in parallel. That will definitely enhance the performance, right? But with this, if you want to go ahead and get more optimized, or rather, if you want to execute a job in more faster manner, right? There are multiple precautionary things that we can take about indexes. We can, in the target table, we can drop and we can recreate the indexes once the data has been loaded. Because most of the times, the challenges that we face, it is always during the one-time load that we are loading it. Partitioning is one of the concepts wherein it will help a job for enhancing or for optimization, I'll say. Okay, I can see that Harveen is a new team member. I haven't got a chance to speak to Harveen, I think. Let me go ahead and do that. Here, Harveen, I'm just unmuting you. You can speak up.
Hi, Abhishek. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks. What about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's 2 in the morning here in US.
I know it's late. It's pretty late for you. We'll try to manage it out so that in the coming sessions or in the later on, we can plan it accordingly. No worries, but it's a beneficial one as you are awake from quite late time. But
yeah, definitely. And I've watched your recorded sessions, and I'm very glad that you're the one today.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Harveen. So, Harveen, what's your question?
This partitioning thing, is this something controlled by only the admins or the developers?
The developers. We are not going. It's not the administrative work. It is completely dependent on developers. Whenever you go to a workflow, just see this screenshot. If you are going to this particular workflow, and over here on there are two. Let me take a highlighter so that I can show it to you. Can you see this portion on the navigator panel? This is a session properties tab.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Over here, there are two options: transformation and partitioning. Once you'll go to the partitioning, right, you can easily go ahead and if you see here, there are two sections. Once you will go, you will design it in the normal workflow session properties, you'll find this transformations tab. Once you will go ahead and start doing the partitioning, you need to switch on to this partitions tab, and then the complete workflow will appear over here. And you can easily go ahead and break down a particular job, and you can create different partitions from here. So that's a developer rather responsibility rather than an administrator one. Okay. All right. Hope I answered your question, Harveen.
Yeah, I'm good.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. All right, team. So let's move forward and let's see what comes next. Okay. So what are the different ways to implement parallel processing in Informatica? Okay. Would anybody like to voluntarily let me know that what do we mean by a parallel processing and what are the different ways to implement parallel processing? Can I get a quick reply or shall we go ahead? I can see Seelam. Seelam has raised her hand. Let me unmute her. Hey, Seelam. Yep, I can see that you have raised your hand. Would you like to attempt on this part? That what is a parallel processing or what's a, we call it partitioning also, right?
Yeah.
So partitioning of a session.
Yeah, no, we can create partitioning points, and then we can create how many numbers of partition we can create. If we mention
Okay.
how many numbers of the partition and then the partition points, then we can achieve the parallel processing.
Right, that's more or less correct. Okay, if I'll talk about partitioning, right, the Informatica PowerCenter, this partitioning, right, as we know that this option, obviously it is going to increase the performance of the PowerCenter, right, because we are going to execute a specific job in parallel. And this option will let us split the large data set into smaller subsets, right, which can be processed in parallel and better performance can be achieved out of that, right? So if you see, right, we have these different ways in order to go ahead and perform a partitioning. We have database partition, we have round robin partitioning, we have hash auto keys partitioning, hash user keys partitioning, and key range partitioning. Okay. Now, if I'll tell you that what's a database partitioning, right? So basically, if we'll talk about a database partitioning, the integration services, right? The Informatica integration services, it's going to query the queries. It queries the database system for table partition information, basically, and it reads partition data from the corresponding nodes that is present in the database. That means it will query in the database and it will look into that particular database and it's going to interact with the relevant partition within the database. And this will definitely enhance the performance because it's no need to go ahead and look into the data entirely. It is going to specifically, it's going to talk to that particular partition within the database itself. Right. So obviously that would be a enhancement towards the partitioning or the parallel processing. Right. The second one, round robin partitioning. Right. If I'll talk about this is an algorithm. Right. So using this algorithm, we have the integration service. Right. So the integration service is going to distribute data evenly among all the different partitions that we have created, and it uses this algo when we need to distribute rows evenly and do not need to group the data among different partitions. By the term I meant to say, I'm taking an example, right? If I talk about, we have a table, we have a workflow. Let's take an example on Informatica. We have a workflow, we have multiple transformations that are present. So it's, first of all, this algorithm is going to evenly distribute it, right? It's going to evenly distribute all the different transformations for all the different segments of a particular workflow. Once it will be done, right, it's going to execute that in parallel, all the different segments. So obviously, as it's evenly balanced, load balance has been managed, it's going to load the data in parallel. Obviously, that will be a add-on benefit. So that's a second type of, you can say, parallel processing that we have within Informatica. Okay. Hash auto keys. Okay, let me hear it from anybody. Would you like to take it? Any volunteer that we have within the team who would like to let me know that what exactly a hash auto keys partitioning is? Any idea? You can raise your hand. You can ping me on the question window. I'll unmute you. These all are the basically the fundamental, or you can say the advanced features of parallel processing. Okay, Seelam. Okay, Seelam, would you like to attempt? Sure, I have unmuted you. Please go ahead. What do you mean by hash auto keys partitioning? Any idea on that part?
Once we partition our source data, our integration service will group the data in a particular way. So for example, if you are using aggregator or if you are using any group by function, then you have to push your data based on the group by conditions. So to push the data to the particular condition or to the particular group, we will be using this hash auto key partitioning. This hash auto key partitioning, we won't be defining the keys here. The integration service itself will determine what key or the column it has to use, and then it based on those value, this partitioning will push the values to the group transformations like aggregator, sorter, rank, joiner, and unsorted aggregator.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Thanks, Seelam. Thanks. That was a wonderful explanation. Yes, team, as Seelam just explained, right? Whenever we are going to use hash auto key, right? The integration service uses all grouped or sorted ports, right, as a partitioning key. That integration service is going to decide, and we can use these keys, right, in different transformations like rank, sorter, aggregator. There can be multiple, right? But aggregator, should be unsorted aggregator. It will not be a sorted one. It will be an unsorted aggregator, and that will ensure that those rows are grouped properly before they enter these transformations. So that's the benefit of hash auto key partitioning. These will be for the group by thing. Okay, hope everybody is clear on this concept, right? Can I get a quick reply on the question window, team? Perfect. All right. I got a reply from Lakshmi. Thank you. All right. The next comes is hash user key partitioning, right? Again, the integration services, basically, it's going to group rows of data among the partition based on this time user defined partitioning key. In hash, it's going to create the key itself, but over here, it will work on the user defined partitioning key. And we can choose the port that define the partitioning key within the transformation itself. So that's the difference between a hash user key and hash auto keys partitioning, basically. Okay, so we have one more, or rather we have key range partitioning. If I'll talk about key range partitioning, with this type of partitioning, we can specify one or more port even, right, and form a partitioning key for a specific source or a target. And the integration service then passes the data to each partitioning depending on the ranges that we have specified for each and every port. So that's the key range. Over here we are defining a range in source and target, right? That's the key range partitioning. And we have one more partitioning concept, that is pass-through partitioning. Over here, if I'll talk about this type of partitioning, the integration service passes all the rows at once partition point to the next partition point without redistributing them. So that's the pass-through partitioning, basically. Now, if I want to go ahead and I want to set up a partition, you can grab a paper or a pen handy. I can see somebody has pinged me. I'll come to your question. Just give me a moment. In order to go ahead and find out the partitioning, you can go to the mapping, then partitions, then once you go to partition, there will be an option which says add and modify partitions, right? Then you can choose any type of transformation and then just click on add partition point over there. After that, you can edit a particular partition point, or you can create a partition point from there. I just gave you a process that you need to go to the mappings and then partition, and from there you can manage your different partitionings. Okay. All right. Harveen is asking that which is the best method. Okay. Let me hear it from one of the team member. What do you say? Let me unmute Dhruv. I think Dhruv is a new one. I have not had a word yet. Hey, Dhruv. Good afternoon. Hi, Dhruv. Am I audible to you, Dhruv? Okay. I'll come back to you. I think there's some problem with your mic. No problem. Let me hear it from Vasanta. Vasanta, would you like to supply Harveen? Harveen is asking which type of partitioning is better for a particular workflow or particular job, rather. What do you say?
Yeah, hello, Abhishek.
Hi. Hey, Vasanta. Yep. What do you think? Which type of partitioning is better?
Yeah, it may be round robin partition.
Any specific reason for that?
No, because it distributes the data evenly among all the partitions.
Okay. And if I say that it can be hash auto key also, then I think I got a reply. Jayant is saying the same thing. All right. Hash. If I'll talk about hash auto key, that is better. Okay. All right, guys. Let me explain you. It's nothing like a specific partitioning method is better. If it would have been better, then that should be the only option that would have been given in a particular job, right? So it depends on the scenario. It depends on the job that you have developed. It depends how many transformations you are using, or which type of logic that you have applied in a particular job. In the real-time scenario, it's nothing like that. A specific partitioning method is better. If we are working on the optimization part, right, we need to go ahead and check that which is the partitioning that is helping me a lot, or helping us a lot, right? Or in order to increase the performance. It will vary from one job to another job. We can't go ahead and say that this one is the better or this one is the most beneficial one. Harveen, hope I answered your question. Hey, Harveen, am I audible? Okay, Harveen is saying, can you unmute? Sure, Harveen, I'll unmute you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so are you saying that it's a trial and error? Like you have to try all these 6 and then decide
Okay, if
where
I'll
the
say, if
optimization is happening?
yes, I'll say that because in the real-time scenario, if you're studying one thing, that's a different concept. In the real-time scenario, when you're going to work in a live project, and when you will be given a particular job, then I'll take care that how many transformations are going right, and then I'll go ahead and I'll choose accordingly. Like if we have lots of transformations, right? Then I'll go ahead and I'll see, okay, let's go ahead and try hash auto key partition. If I have a rank, if I'm grouping by something, right? Then I'll choose hash auto keys partitioning. If I have some other transformations like expression, like if I'm using a union all or union transformation, then I'll go to round robin. So this is just a concept that if I need to group by, then obviously if I am using rank, sorter, any aggregator where I'm grouping up the data, then I'll go and use hash auto key partitioning. And then if I have some other transformations, right, like union, and if I say I'm using expression, multiple expressions, then I'll go ahead and use round robin. So it depends on the scenario that you are using at the moment in a particular job. So we can't go ahead and say that we don't that specific partitioning is the best one. Hope you got my point.
Yeah.
Right. Ishwar is saying in database partitioning we don't specify manual anything except for selecting database partition option in PowerCenter level. Ishwari, I'm just unmuting you. Can you can speak up because I got your question, but you can speak up so that everybody can be on the same page. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah. So when we use this database partitioning option, do we like see when we use round robin or any other partitions in PowerCenter we define right using that add partition option. So
Yes, it depends on. Yes.
yeah, but
Yes,
when
that's
it
true.
but when it comes to the database partition, do we specify anything manually except for selecting that option in PowerCenter?
For the PowerCenter, no, it will be only database partitioning that we are going to select. That's the only option. You can go to the mapping and then select the partitions in your Informatica PowerCenter and check it. You will find a different option in order to go ahead and use that which type of partition technique your job should follow. So once you will select the database partition, you will automatically, it will follow the database partition that you have already created. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Perfect. All right, team. So let's move forward and let's see what comes up next. Difference between OLTP and OLAP. I think most of the team members should be aware of this question. So OLTP, online transactional processing, OLAP, online analytical processing, right? So these are a few of the differences that is mentioned over here. Like application, it's application oriented, which is it's subject oriented, right? And we can go ahead and use to run business, and it is used to analyze business. On the right hand side we have OLAP, and on the left hand side we have OLTP. Okay, so it's written in white, that's why it's not clear here, but on the left hand side it's OLTP. Okay, and then we have detailed data in case of OLTP, we have summarized and refined data in case of OLAP. Current up-to-date data, it will be a snapshot of data. It's again an isolated data that we can find in OLTP, and integrated data that we are going to find in OLAP. The repetitive access, obviously it's a transactional one, it will be repetitive task. It's an ad hoc access. It depends on us that when we want to go ahead and load the data in our data warehouse. So it's an ad hoc access. It can be daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, anything, quarterly. We have a clerical user, we have knowledge users like the higher management. Obviously why we are creating a data warehouse, so that our management can come to a specific conclusion and they can find out that how their business is doing, or if they want to reach out to the customers for a relevant product, then which all are the customers that they need to approach. So all these type of information can be found, or can be they can easily conclude using OLAP, right? We have performance sensitive data in OLTP, and we have performance relaxed data in case of OLAP. We have few records accessed at a specific time. We have large volume of data because it's a data warehouse, that's for sure. It's read and update access that we have, and mostly in case of the data warehouse, OLAP, analytical processing, we have only read access. We're not going to update the data It depends. Again, if I'll say about SED1, SED2, you should be aware of that, the slowly changing dimensions. So how the job logic is there, that's a separate scenario. But once the data has been populated to data warehouse, these all are, it should be mostly read only, right? That's why we have used mostly over here. Then we have no data redundancy. Redundancy will be present in case of OLAP and no data redundancy in case of OLTP. The DB size is from 100 MB to 100 GB, whereas DB size in case of OLAP is 100 GB to few terabytes. Thousands of users and hundreds of users. So these are few of the differences that one should remember while appearing in an interview of Informatica. Okay, so if somebody asks you that name the output files created by Informatica server during session execution, right? So which type of files can be created? The log files, obviously that will be created. We can go ahead and give an example of a log file. If there are some rejected records, they will be captured in the bad files that will be created. So it depends on the scenario. So it's a log file that is going to be created. Workflow log. Yes, that's correct. Okay. All right. So what is a surrogate key? Let me hear it from one of the team members. This is one of the common questions that they ask. Jayant, would you like to attempt it? What do we mean by a surrogate key?
Surrogate key is, we use surrogate key to identify a record uniquely apart from primary key, and surrogate key is especially used for implementing slowly changing dimensions.
Yes, that's correct. Thanks for your reply, Jayant. If I'll talk about a surrogate key, right? Unique identification key. It's a unique identification key, and which can be declared as a primary key instead of a specific natural key. Okay, now see here, a surrogate key is a unique identification key which can be declared as a primary key instead of a real or a natural key. There can be several natural keys that could be declared as a primary key, and these are called candidates key, right? So a surrogate key is basically, as just Jayant explained, that generally it is developed. We will take a specific column. We can generate this by using a sequence generator. It will be a unique value that is going to be assigned to a particular row, right? So these type of key columns are generally used in case of slowly changing dimensions, and we generate the surrogate keys accordingly. And there is an example that is also there. The most common type of surrogate key is an incrementing integer, such as auto increment column in MySQL, or creating a sequence in Oracle, or identity column in SQL Server. Just an example that they have mentioned over here. Okay, all right. So these are a few of the generic questions that can be asked whenever you are going to appear in an interview. And then we have a few of the transformation related questions as well. We will be discussing it today itself. What do you say? Shall we split for a quick break of 5 to 10 minutes, and then we will be back and we will discuss this in more details? Perfect. All right. Harvind says, sure. Lakshmi is also good. Sulam is also good. All right. Thanks, team. Let's meet in next 10 minutes. Hi, team. I'm back. Let me know once you'll be back. Okay. I can see Lakshmi is back. I hope everybody is back and we can start, continue with the session now. Okay. So let's move forward and let's see. What's a difference between an active and a passive transformation? Whenever you are going to appear in an interview, in an Informatica interview, just asking questions on different transformations, he or she can go ahead and ask you about a transformation when you are explaining that specific transformation, and he or she can ask you that whether it's an active one or a passive one. Let me see if we are aware of an active transformation or a passive transformation. So, Harveen, I've just unmuted you. Any idea on what do we mean by an active transformation or a passive transformation?
Active transformation is where the number of records that come out from the transformation could potentially be different from what goes into the transformation.
Right. Yes. So if I'll talk about an active and a passive transformation, basically if there will be any fluctuations in number of rows, right, it will be called as an active one. That means active transformations, they either change the number of rows that pass through the transformation, it changed the transaction boundary or change the row type, right? But in case of passive transformation, they do not change the number of rows that pass through the transformation, transaction boundary, or the row type. That means if we from the source, let's suppose I'm taking an example that a source has 10 records and it's passing through with filter transformation with a specific condition, and the output is appearing to be only 2 rows, then in that scenario we call it as a active transformation. Now, if I'm going to pass, I'm just giving you one more example. If I'm going to pass 10 rows using an expression transformation, and in that expression transformation, I'm just trimming a particular column length, right? And output will be appearing as a 10 rows again, right? So in that scenario, it will behave as a passive transformation. So that's expression transformation. Obviously, it's an example of passive transformation. And if we'll talk about filter, then obviously a filter is an example of active transformation. I always say that for learning Informatica, right, you should consult the help files of Informatica. It's a Bible for learning Informatica. So you can easily go ahead, go to the transformation guide, and over there you will find all the transformations. Whenever they are starting to introduce a specific transformation, they always say that whether it is an active one or a passive one. So you can easily find it out in that manner, that a specific transformation is an active one or a passive one. Okay, so similar type of question is appearing here, that whether a sorter is an active transformation or a passive transformation. What do you say, Bindu? I've just unmuted you. What do you say? Is sorter an active transformation or a passive?
Sorter is an active transformation. Why? Because it is changing the row type. It will change from ascending to descending. So
Okay.
that is why we will consider it as an active transformation, even though it was not. The input and output records are equal. Also, we will consider it as an active transformation.
Okay, that's correct. It's an active transformation, but not because of sorting, ascending and descending. It is because of the distinct option that we have available within a sorter. You can select the distinct checkbox present in the sorter transformation, and it's going to remove the duplicate rows. So that means there will be a fluctuation in the number of count of rows that is coming from the source and that is going out from a sorter transformation. So that's why it's an active one. Okay. Okay. So we were discussing about the sorter. So we now we know that why if we are selecting a distinct option, we are discarding the duplicate rows and we are populating the distinct records, right? So that's use of the distinct option. Okay, so what's a difference between a router and a filter transformation? As we know that router's transformation it provides the option of capturing those rows of data that do not meet any condition, and the other one goes to the default output, right? Whereas if we'll talk about a filter transformation, that tests the data for one condition and drop the remaining rows. So that means in case of router, we can go ahead and we can get the rows that is meeting the condition as well as that is not meeting the condition in both the scenarios. Whereas if we'll talk about in filter, those rows are going to be discarded. So that's a major difference between a router and filter. And a router transformation is a single input and multiple out group transformation, whereas filter is single input and a single output group. So you can remember these differences. It will always help you when you will appear for your interview. And in as you see, in a router transformation, you can specify more than one filter condition, whereas in a filter transformation, you can specify only one condition. That's true. Now, if we'll talk about a router transformation that does not block input rows, and those records that fail the filter condition will be passed to a default group, as we discussed in the first point. And whereas in filter transformation, those records that are not going to meet the condition, they are going to be discarded, right? There is a chance that the records to get blocked. Similarly, one more difference we have in router transformation, it acts like as if condition, and in Informatica, okay, as we have if condition, we can apply that, right? Just like case statements, that we can write case statement as well within the sequence or within the conditions that we have. Whereas in case of filter transformation, it works as just a where clause for a specific sequence. So we need to remember these points as well. That will be helpful. And there is one more question that people ask, that how you can increase the performance of a joiner transformation, right? So you can see that there are some of the points that we have mentioned. It performs joins in a database whenever possible, right? That means perform join in a database. So we can either do it on the SQL override side. We can go ahead and apply the joining conditions over there and avoid joining using a joiner transformation. That is going to improve the performance. Right? For an unsorted joiner transformation, just designate the source with fewer rows as the master source. Let me hear it from Lakshmi. Lakshmi, what's the concept of master and detail while we use a joiner transformation? Do you remember that?
Yes, yeah, I do remember.
Okay. Would you like to elaborate so that everybody can be updated on the same, or it will be refreshed to everyone?
Yeah, whenever we are using joiner transformation, so whatever, I mean, the number of rows in which source that has number of rows, we can choose it as a detail source. I mean, master source.
Okay.
And the more number of rows that we can use it as detail source.
Okay, that's a thumb rule that we follow, that we should make the master source with fewer number of rows, and vice versa for the detail. So that's a thumb rule. It is always going to benefit in case of performance criteria, right? Okay, so these are a few of the things that we should take care. And one more point, that for a sorted joiner transformation, designated the source with fewer duplicate key values as the master source. So these all are the conditions wherein we can decide that which source to be taken as master and which source to be taken as a detail. Okay, there's one more question that people ask generally, that what is an update strategy transformation in Informatica, right? Would anyone like to attempt that? Let me hear it from Vasanta. Vasanta, I'm just unmuting you. What do you mean by an update strategy? What's the importance of that? Can you give us some example?
I think update strategy transformation generally is an active and connected transformation. And it is used to insert and delete the records, and even update the records in the target table.
Right. Okay, and what are the four major keywords that we use while inserting, updating, rejecting, or these records we use within update strategy? Do you remember those keywords that we use over there? Can you name them, which is applicable to only update strategy transformation? Anybody else within the team who would like to attempt it? Okay, I've got a quick reply. Yes, Bindu. Let me go ahead and unmute Bindu. Yeah, Bindu, please go ahead.
Yeah, update strategy, as she mentioned, it is for updating and rejecting the records, and the keywords are DD insert, DD update, DD delete, and DD reject.
Perfect. So these are the four different keywords that we use while applying. Thanks Bindu, thanks for your reply. For these, while implementing the update strategy transformation, these are the four transformation, the keywords rather, that we use. Okay, so basically update strategy, it helps us to tag each record, pass through it for insert, update, delete, or reject, and this information lets the integration service know how to treat each row passed to a particular target, right? So by implementing these four, we can perform the action items as per the name. Okay, and we can set the update strategy at two different levels, on the session level and on the mapping level. If I'll talk about a session level, that means it instructs the integration service to either treat all row in the same way, insert, update, or delete. We have the checkboxes over there if you remember, or use instructions coded in the session mapping to flag for different database operations. Whereas in time mapping level, we will be using update strategy transformation. So you remember on the session properties under mapping tab, in the target side, you will find those 3 to 4 checkboxes which says insert as insert or upsert. Do you remember that? So we are talking about those 4 checkboxes. Bindu, I think that you have raised your hand. Is it from the past or you have a question? Okay, let me unmute you. Bindu, you have a question?
Sorry. No. I will lower my hand. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay, I can see Lakshmi is asking, what if we treat source as a data driven? Let me unmute you, Lakshmi. Give me a second. I'm just unmuting you. Okay. I've just unmuted you, Lakshmi. Please go ahead.
In the session level, if we have like treat source rows as insert, update, delete, and data driven, right? We have those options, right?
Right.
Yeah. What if we choose? I mean, I forgot that if we choose data driven as an option, so what will be change in the?
Yeah, it depends on the conditions, in the conditions that we are applying, that whether it's as per the data that is coming in. So as the data flow is going on, so it will pick up those records only, the data driven. Okay.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Okay, let's move to the next question. That is, describe the purpose of a variable port within an expression transformation. We all are aware of that. I think in order to go ahead and provide storage for temporary values, it helps in simplifying complex values. Variables are initialized like numeric to 0 or string to any other value when the mapping is processed. Usually used to store computed values. So that means we are computing something. We are doing taking out max, calculating, adding a particular thing, particular column. So we can perform it in the variable, and then we will be calling it in the output port. So these all are the differences between or the benefits of the variable. Okay. All right. So if you see, the next question is what are the different types of joins that we can perform using a joiner transformation? We all are aware that there are majorly 4 types of join: normal join, master outer, master detail outer, and full outer join, right? So a normal join, we know it's an equi-join. Just like an equi-join, all the records that are going to meet the conditions will be populated. The master join, right, it keeps all the rows from the detail source and the matching rows from the master source. Just like a left outer join, a right outer join in case of Oracle, right, and a full outer join as well. That means all the records will be populated. So accordingly, we have detail outer join, which is going to keep all the rows from the master source and the matching rows of a detail source. So the driving will be called with the name. In case of master, we are keeping all the rows from detail and the matching rows of master. And in case of detail, we are going to keep all the rows of master and the matching rows of a detail. So these 4 types of joins are available within Informatica. Okay, Bindu is saying, I think the diagram wrongly mentioned. Okay, let me see. Yes, that's correct. Okay, thanks. That's a feedback for us. Yes, it should be vice versa. It's a diagram. You don't interrelate with the diagram. There's a difference between a master outer join and detail outer join. The figure should be different. We'll make it changed in the coming sessions. Sure. Thanks. Thank you. All right, so let's move forward. A reusable transformation. Let's try to understand what is a reusable transformation. Obviously, any transformation, right, that we have created, we can make it a reusable one. Once you will go to the transformation on the first tab, under the transformation, as it's highlighted, is showing transformation type expression, which is reusable. If it is not a reusable transformation, there will be a checkbox that will be present there, and you can go ahead and just tick mark it, and then you can make a specific transformation as a reusable transformation. But please do take care that once transformation is being changed to a reusable form, it's an irreversible process, and you can't go ahead and make it back to non-irreusable, I'll say. Because the difference between a reusable and irreusable is that, okay, in real time, mostly do we use reusable transformation? Okay, Bindu, first I'll ask you a question and then I'll reply to your answer. Bindu, can you just update us that what's the difference between a reusable and a non-reusable transformation?
I mean, non-reusable, we can only use the mapping in that specific mapping, and reusable transformation, we can use in the different mappings as well.
Yes, that's correct. Can you give an example wherein you're making it reusable?
I mean, if we're having very complex mapping, in order to reduce the complexity, we will be using the reusable. Like so many times we are doing the same operation for different occasions or something. We will be, doing it as a reusable transformation. If you want to give me an example, I can give to you.
No, perfectly fine. Thanks, Bindu. All right, Bindu. So, as Bindu just explained, I'll come to your question, Bindu. Just give me a moment. As Bindu explained, that reusable, we generally go ahead and create a reusable transformation if we need to use the same type of transformation with the same logic in another mapping. So we are just making it reusable and it will be globally available. We can easily drag it to one of the other mapping and we can use it over there. But yes, we can only reuse the transformation only if the metadata requirements in the mapping are exactly the same. By the term metadata, the structure of the table or the structure of the columns. The column, same type of column should be there, and then we can easily go ahead and make it reusable. Okay, All right, so let me see that there was a question from Bindu that in real time, mostly do we use reusable? No, in real time scenarios, Bindu, I'll say we use a reusable transformation for 15-20%, not more than that. It will be only mapping specific transformations that we will be creating in order to go ahead and achieve a specific target. So we'll not go ahead and use reusable transformations a lot, but yes, we use it. I'll say we use it 15-20% time we use it, else mostly it will not be used that much. Okay, all right, so let's move forward. What is a maplet and how is it different from a mapping? Okay, would anybody want to reply it? Do we have a volunteer? Let me speak to some other team members. I think Sandhya, we didn't have a word. Hey Sandhya, good afternoon.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, I think we didn't have a word yet, right? Okay, Sandhya, so what do you say? What do we mean by a maplet and how it is different from a mapping?
Yeah, like maplet means it is if you want to make use, it's a reusable mapping. In a maplet, we can just want to reuse the mapping and just create in a maplet, and we can use that in multiple other mappings.
Yes, that's absolutely correct, Sandhya. Thank you. Thanks for your reply. And as Sandhya just explained, that mapping is a collection of sources, targets, and transformations. Whereas if we'll talk about maplet, it is a collection of transformation. That means we will have an input and an output and few set of transformations that we are using in order to achieve or in order to calculate something. All right. So once that job is ready, and if we want to go ahead and call it in again a different mapping in order to perform the same calculation that we are doing with that particular maplet, then we can call it. So that is a maplet. And if we'll talk about the difference, then we have one more difference, that mapping is developed with different transformation but not reusable. Whereas maplet can be reused with other mapping and also with other maplet. Once it is created, it is created to achieve a particular target, right? And mapping is developed for what data move to the target and what modification done upon that. Whereas maplet is developed for complex calculation used in multiple mappings, so that we should not go ahead and develop the same thing or same activity right from the scratch again. So that should be readily available to us if we want to go ahead and use it. So there's one more question. What is the difference between reusable transformation and maplet? If I'll talk about a reusable transformation, these are a few of the differences that's been listed. If I'll talk about a maplet, rather, it is a reusable object that we can create in the mapping designer by making use of various reusable transformations. And if we'll talk about a reusable transformation, they are created within a transformation developer tool, or a non-reusable transformation is promoted from the mapping designer. So these two are the major differences, as well as any mapping variables or parameters in maplet that can't be used in another mapping or maplet. So if I'll talk about any mapping variables or parameters, right? Okay, let me hear it from Seelam. Seelam, would you like to reply? The mapping parameters and variables, how we declare it on mapping level. You remember that? Okay, guys, am I audible to everyone? Let me hear it from Lakshmi. Lakshmi, what do you say? Am I audible to you?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm able to hear you.
Okay, so would you like to attempt the question? How we declare mapping variables and parameters on designer level?
Yes, we have an option under workflows. There is parameters and variables option there. We can apply that. We can do that.
And why do we need a mapping parameter or a variable? In order to go ahead and parameterize a particular value, right? We don't want a hard-coded value all the time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's correct. So we can go ahead and parameterize. Thanks, Lakshmi. We can parameterize these values. Some of the examples like parameterizing the connections, right? So we can go ahead and use it. I can see I have a question. For a transformation to be used in maplet, does it need to be reusable? No. Creating a transformation, creating a maplet is itself a reusable. Once you are creating a maplet, you can easily go ahead and define the transformations within it. I think that it should automatically be reusable. It will automatically be reusable. The maplet will be reusable, but if we are using, I think it will automatically become a reusable transformation once we are using it within a maplet. Ishwari, that was from Ishwari. So I think because we can easily go ahead and pull out. But I'm not sure. I don't remember that. I have not used that. I've not noticed that rather that while they were developing a maplet, if we are using any transformation within a maplet, will that be a reusable one or not? But more or less, it's going to perform, we will be able to perform this activity because obviously maplet is a reusable object. So if we are using it within maplets, these transformations, they will also be reusable by default. All right, Ishwari. So I hope I replied to question. Shall we move ahead? Perfect. All right. Thank you. So if you see, we cannot connect to the target definition directly. That's about the maplet. But we can directly connect a reusable transformation. And we can't use COBOL source qualifier, joiner, and normalizer transformations within maplet. Just remember these things. COBOL source qualifier, joiner, and normalizer will not be able to use within a particular maplet. Whereas in case of mapping or reusable transformation, we can create a reusable joiner and normalizer transformation. So we can go ahead and make it reusable. Okay, some other questions. Let's jump on to some other questions like what is a shortcut and what's the difference between a shortcut and a reusable transformation? If I'll talk about a shortcut, right? A shortcut is a reference to an object in a shared folder. That means we just drag from the shared folder, we are just dragging it to my own folder. So that is creating a shortcut, right? Basically, these are commonly used for sources and targets that are to be shared between different environments or projects. And a shortcut is creating by assigning shared status to a folder within the repository manager and then dragging objects from this folder to another open folder. As I just told, we can easily create a shortcut by dragging it from one folder to another folder. Whereas if I'll talk about reusable transformation, a reusable transformation, if we have the same logic to implement across multiple mappings, we can use the reusable transformation, which allows us to reuse the same transformation across the map. Okay, and you can only reuse the transformation only if the metadata requirement is exactly the same as of the other mapping. So that's the reusable transformation and shortcut difference. What's the difference? This can be asked in any of the interview. That what's the difference between a shortcut and a reusable transformation. Okay. All right. So let's move to our next section, that is lookup interview questions. Okay, would anybody like to let me know that what do we mean by lookup? How many types of lookups are there? Let me unmute Harveen. Harveen, would you like to attempt it?
No, sorry, I'm out of touch.
Okay, do you remember what a lookup is?
It's probably not a transformation, but
okay, no worries. I'll come to you. Okay, let's hear it from other team members as well. Okay. All right, let me unmute Dhruv. Dhruv, would you like to attempt? Hey Dhruv, are you there? Okay, I think that some issues with Dhruv's mic. Let me unmute Sandhya. Sandhya, would you like to attempt that? What do we mean by lookup and how many types of lookups are there?
Yes, normally we use lookup to get the related value from the target table or the source table.
Okay.
And we have connected lookup, unconnected lookup.
And what's the difference between them?
For the connected lookup, it will be in the it will be in the same pipeline. All the data will be in the same pipeline. But for the unconnected lookup, we have to use the expression transformation to call the lookup.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. Thanks, Sandhya. Thank you. Thanks for the reply. Okay, so if we'll talk about lookup, lookup is a transformation, and we can look up anything. Like we can look up a relational database, we can look up a particular file, we can look up any type of systems, we can look up into a particular object. We are looking up a particular object. Majorly, we have two types of lookups. One is the connected one, the other one is the unconnected one, as Sandhya just explained a few minutes back. Now, if we'll talk about a connected one, it will be associated with the data flow, whereas if we'll talk about the unconnected one, it is not going to be associated. Rather, we will be using an expression transformation in order to call that particular lookup. Okay, so that's the main difference between a connected and unconnected lookup. And lookup transformation in a mapping is used to look up data in a flat file, relational table, views, or synonyms. And we can also create a lookup definition from a source qualifier. So that's a lookup. Now, this is a common question that people ask, that what's the difference between a connected and unconnected lookup? So these all are the major differences between a connected and an unconnected lookup. That means a connected lookup, it receives input files directly from the pipeline. The unconnected lookup, it receives input values from the result of lookup expression. Like we can call the lookup, the unconnected lookup over there. We can use a dynamic or static cache, whereas in case of unconnected, there will be only one type of cache, that is a static cache. The caches include all lookup columns used in the mapping, and in case of unconnected lookup, it includes all lookup or output ports in the lookup condition, and as well as the ports also. If we'll talk about a connected lookup, it can return multiple values. That's a major difference. It can return multiple columns from the same row or insert into the dynamic lookup cache. Whereas in unconnected lookup, dynamic lookup cache, or it designates or it can return only one single port. So that's the major difference between a connected and unconnected lookup. Okay. All right, team. So if I'll talk about, there are a few more points that is mentioned there. You can definitely go through these points. We all are aware of the difference between a connected and unconnected lookup. Okay, so caches. All right, team. Let me tell you what the caches that we go ahead and use. It's a very important concept. 80% of the time people definitely ask it. How many types of caches are there? What is it to function? How does it behave? So these are all type of questions that they will ask. Let me go ahead and hear it from one of the team member, that what do we mean by a cache, and how many types of caches are there. Okay. Let me unmute Bindu. Bindu, what do you say? What are the different types of caches that we have within Informatica?
I think data cache and index cache. These are the different types of caches in Informatica, and caches, it is used to do the calculations, perform the calculations. It is used to store in the cache memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are discussing about a lookup over here. Any idea on the lookup caches? How many? What are the different types of caches that we can use?
Yeah, persistent cache, which we can use the cache in the different types of mappings, and shared cache, dynamic cache, and static cache.
Yep. Overall, there will be 5 type of caches that we have within lookup: static cache, dynamic cache, shared cache, persistent cache, and we can recache from a database as well. I'll let you know what's the difference between them. Basically, if we'll talk about a static cache, let me tell you that. If we'll talk about a static cache, it's the same as a cached lookup, in which once a cache is created, right, the integration service is going to always query the cache instead of the lookup table. So once the cache will be created, the integration service is always going to find out the value in the created cache rather than the lookup table. That's the static cache. And basically, one important thing that I would like to highlight, that in case of static cache, we cannot insert or update the cache. We can't go ahead and insert or update that particular cache. Whereas it's a bit different in case of dynamic cache. In dynamic cache, we can insert or update the rows in the cache whenever we pass the rows, or when we pass, right? So we can go ahead and insert and update those rows. Whereas the integration service dynamically inserts or updates data in the lookup cache and passes the data to the target, right? So basically, the dynamic cache is always synchronized with the target system. So that's static cache as well as a dynamic cache. If I'll talk about a few more caches, concept that we have, it's a shared cache. It is the cache when Informatica server creates a cache memory for multiple lookup transformations, right, in a specific mapping. And once the lookup is done for the first lookup, then the memory is going to be released from it and it's going to be used for the next lookup transformation. So that's shared cache basically. And if I'll talk about the persistent one, right? So we can use persistent caches because basically if we are going to use it, Informatica service processes a lookup transformation and saves the lookup cache files and reuses them for the next level. That's the persistent one, right? And basically in order to the integration service, it saves or delete the lookup cache files after the successful run, basically, which will depend again whether the lookup cache has been used or not, which type of lookup cache is used. So majorly these 4 to 5 types of caches are there in case of lookup, and we are going to use it accordingly. If you see here, static, dynamic, persistent, recache from source. Okay, we have not covered this part. Recache from source, it is basically the persistent cache is not synchronized with the help of lookup table, right? We can easily configure the lookup transformation to rebuild the lookup cache. Okay, so we can recache the lookup. That's a recache from the source. So these type of different caches are present with our lookup transformations, and people use, rather we are going to use them in order to go ahead, and again the performance thing comes into the picture. It's going to enhance the performance basically. Okay, guys, I hope everybody is on the same page and I'm not going too fast. Rather, can I get a quick reply from all the team members? Hope we all are on the same page and we are understanding all the things. Perfect, we are good pace. Okay, all right, there's one more question that people ask. What's the difference between a static and a dynamic cache? Right, so these are a few of the statements which will let you know that what's the major difference between a static and a dynamic cache. So in a dynamic lookup, the cache memory will get refreshed as soon as the records gets inserted or updated or deleted to the lookup table. That means once the activity has been done, right, the cache memory will get refreshed. Whereas in static lookup, the cache memory will not get refreshed even though the record is inserted, updated, or looking table, or lookup in the lookup table rather, right? And so that means if we'll talk about dynamic, it's going to be refreshed regularly, and if we'll talk about the static, it's not going to be refreshed regularly. Okay, there are a few examples that they have mentioned. You can go through with this this example, and it will give you clear differences between a static and a dynamic cache. And do remember to go through them because it is important. Will the rows get deleted during runtime from dynamic lookup? You're looking up a particular column, right? So if we'll talk about unconnected, right, we are going to have the lookup condition. On the basis of that, we are going to extract a value, right? So we are not going to lose anything. We are going to get the complete values. Did I answer your question? Okay, dynamic cache. Okay, you're talking about dynamic cache, right? In case of dynamic cache, okay, we need to go ahead. No, we are not going to lose it. It's okay. Just give me a moment. You're talking about that if we are going to refresh it, then the old records that are present in the cache, it's going to be removed or not, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. You mean to say that? Lakshmi, can I get a quick reply? Oh, sorry, that was okay. Ishwari, let me unmute you. Just give me a moment. I didn't get your question properly. Okay, Ishwari, I've just unmuted you.
Yeah, yes, Abhishek. For dynamic cache, you mentioned that rows gets inserted, updated, deleted, right, in the lookup table. So does the deletion happen during runtime? I know it's insertion and updation takes place during runtime because dynamic cache updates it as soon as it finds new row, as well as if there are any changes to the existing row. But how does it delete from the lookup cache?
I think it is going to be, if we'll talk about a dynamic cache, if I'm using it, okay. I'm not sure on that part. Delete your question at the moment, right? I'll park your question at that moment because insert and update happens, that is for sure. But about the delete part, I need to look into that part, okay?
Yeah, sure.
I'll park your question, and in the next session, I'll let you know.
Sure.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Ishwari. Okay, I have a question again. I think, Ishwari, I'm not able to mute you back. Have you self-muted yourself, or can you try doing that once, please? Because we can hear an echo.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. And now it's fine. All right. So Harveen is asking a question: at what point static cache gets deleted? Okay. If we'll talk about in static, right? Once the transaction completes, the job gets executed, right? After that, it's going to be removed. In static lookup, the cache memory will not get refreshed even though the record is inserted, updated in a lookup table, right? It will. But you're talking about static. I'm not sure that why you said. Give me a moment. I'm unmuting you, Harveen. Can you just repeat your question once, please?
Yeah, no, I looked at that statement where it says it will refresh only in the next run.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
does that mean that it will drop the cache and then recreate it?
You're talking about the static, right?
Static, yeah, yeah.
Yes, it will do the same.
Okay.
After the execution, it will drop it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So thank you. Let's move forward. Now, there can be one of the important question: how do you improve the performance of a lookup transformation, right? So just you can go through these points wherein we can improve the performance. We can create an index on the columns that we are using for the lookup condition. That means if I'm just extracting the salary on the basis of department ID, then I'll go ahead and create an index on department ID. Then we will be placing the conditions with equality operator first, right? And then we can go ahead and use the cache small lookup tables. We will be using the cache. We can join the tables in the database, right? That means if the source and the lookup table are in the same database, we can go ahead and join the tables in the database rather than using a lookup transformation. Obviously, if it is lying in the same database, then there is no use of using a particular column or getting the details on the basis of condition using a lookup. We can directly join them also. Okay. Use persistent cache for static lookups and avoid order by, right? So these all are the few precautionary measures that we can take in order to go ahead and improve the performance of a lookup transformation. Okay, I have a raised hand over here. Let me unmute you. Yes, Lakshmi, please go ahead.
Yeah, for the first point, create an index on the columns used in the lookup condition. Where do we do that actually?
On the database level. On the database level.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You can do it on the database level. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what's the difference between lookup and joiner? This is a common question. People ask this a lot. Because more or less both have some functionality the same, but people ask these type of question. Lookup and joiner, what's the difference? In joiner, we can use only equals to operator, whereas in lookups, we can use not equals to, more than or equal to, less than or equal to as well. If we'll talk about a joiner transformation, we can perform all four types of joins, right? But in case of lookup, we can perform only left outer join. That's it. Only one type of join is used over here. And we cannot override how the data is fetched into the joiner, whereas we can override that thing in case of lookup. So this is one of the major differences. And there is no separate type of caches that can be used to improve performance in case of a joiner transformation, but we have different types of caches which can improve its performance in case of a lookup cache. Okay, so when do we use a lookup override transformation, right? So there can be multiple factors that we can use a particular override, and we generally override or use the SQL query in order to select specific columns, to apply different logic to a specific columns. So we go ahead and write down the SQL query for them, right? So or the lookup override for them, right? So you should override the lookup query in the following circumstances, like override the order by clause. If you want an order by, we can look up a name or a column names contains a reserved word, right? You can use parameters and variables. We can parameterize a particular value, as well as we can filter transformation before the lookup. So these all are the few reasons why we need a lookup override in order to go ahead and compile it to get the desired results. Okay, so we have covered two of the sections over here. Now we have workflow related questions that we need to cover. What do you say, guys? Shall we split for a break of 10 more minutes, and then we will be back, and then we will cover the remaining questions as well as the scenarios. What do you say? Lakshmi is saying sure, she's good. What about others, team? Bindu is also good. Okay, perfect. So most of the team members are good with it. So let's split for a break of 10 minutes, and then we will come back, and then we will discuss these remaining points. Okay? Thank you. Hey, hi team, I'm back. Okay. I can see I have few questions on the question window. Bindu, let me unmute you, Bindu. I'll come to you, Lakshmi. Give me some time. I think, Bindu, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead. You wanted to discuss something, right?
Yeah. Actually, I mean, some of my friends, they mentioned like mostly they were getting the common question, like what is the complex situation that you came across in your past projects and how you handle that one.
So if I'll talk about the complex situation that you came across, I'll go ahead, I'll show you one of the job, right? Give me a moment. I'll show you one of the job. Guys, this will be helpful for everyone, but I hope two team members should not be present at in the same interview, otherwise they will answer the same thing. I'm just showing you one of the scenario that you can explain. Okay?
Okay.
Right. Give me a moment. I'm showing you one of the mapping. If you can see here. This is one of the job. You can explain that this job is the one, and it has 31 million records, right? 31 million records that we were populating. It was calculating. There were some calculations that we were doing using expression. These all are the calculations, if you see, right? And then there were 31 million rows that were populated. Basically, it's and now after this, it was taking a long time. Then what I did is that I just broke down this job into two parts. You can see one of the job is this, and we loaded the data directly to those two temp tables, and we executed. Before this, you can explain all the things that you did, like using union transformation, or in place of using it in the query. So anything you can explain these type of things, and let me show you the query. If I was executing the simple plain this query itself directly on the database part, if I was executing this query directly on the database, okay, then at that time this query was taking more than 1 hour to be executed, or it was taking around 1 hour and 20 minutes or 30 minutes to process this data. So first I worked on this particular query part, wherein I optimized this query, right? If you see here, there are multiple joins that is available here, multiple unions rather, sorry. See, join conditions are there, left join, and there are right. So similarly, if you see, there are unions also that we are using. So first I worked on this query part, and then I just picked up those columns on which we were joining the conditions, and then I checked whether do we have indexes present or not, like this. Okay, indexes or not. Once it was fine, indexes were there. Then I went to then I went to lookups in order to check for the caches. Different in the caches, I went to the lookup, but it was fine. Then also after that, I just what I did, I just picked up the SQL query that was used in the source qualifier and fired that query directly on the database. And when I found that it was taking 1.5 hours, and overall the job was taking 4 hours to populate the data to the target. So I just thought that if we can break this functionality in two different mappings. So similarly, what I did, I just broke this job or this functionality in two mappings, and we created two temporary tables and populated the data by using one of the query, it's the same job that I broke up.
Okay.
Can you see? This is the first table, and this is the second job. The query that I showed you.
Okay.
This is right. I just directly populated the data into two temporary tables, and then as we were processing it further, so I took the third job, which was populating the data by using these two target tables, right? The two target temporary tables to the desired target output or desired target table. So by this, and when I executed these two tables or these two workflow mappings, these two jobs parallelly, so what happened that overall the time was 4 hours, but now one of the query was taking 1.5 hours, the other query was taking 30 minutes or 20 minutes. So it was running in sequence. So that's why it was taking a lot of time. But when I broke that into small segments and I executed them in parallel, then it saved a lot of time for me. And currently this job is running in 1 hour and 40 or 45 minutes. That's it. It's not taking more than 2 hours at the moment. So that is the main challenge where I've worked in any of the project. You can explain these type of scenarios basically.
Okay. Okay. So what you did is you had been broke into two different mappings, and you use that sources as into the complex mapping, right?
Yes, yes, that's correct.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah.
So you can explain these type of things. So whenever this question will be asked to you. So they will automatically understand, yes, you have worked on it. You have worked on multiple bottlenecks. I checked the source bottleneck, then the target bottleneck, and then I checked for the indexes, then I checked for the SQL query, then I checked for the insert option, whether it's a bulk or normal mode that we want to select. Are you aware of these things, right?
Yes.
The bulk and the normal. Perfect. So you can discuss these things, and then finally I came to a conclusion that if we are going to perform this activity in parallel, then obviously it's going to save time as a whole. And that's what I did. Simple.
Okay. And one more question. Another question also regarding like this only. What are the performance tuning optimizing techniques you have been done in your project?
So you can explain it, right? With the performance tuning or the optimization thing, right? You can say, are you aware that how exactly a performance tuning work within Informatica? Are you aware that bottlenecks that we need to take care of?
Yeah, we have to see the thread of the source and transformation, whichever it is taking more time. We have to see into that particular thing. What is the problem in that? Firstly, we will be seeing in the log file. Yeah, and actually, I'm not remembering much. Yeah, as much I remember is on this one only. Yeah.
Okay, I'll suggest you that's I think that you are talking about. You can go ahead and debug a particular job by using the logs. But in order to go ahead and see the bottlenecks see the optimization part. If we'll talk about the optimization part, right, we have different type of bottlenecks that is present within Informatica. There is a proper sequence that how exactly we need to handle them. First, we will look into the target side, then we will go ahead and look into the source side, then on the mapping level, then the session level, and then finally the system level. So there are 5 types of bottlenecks that can appear, and we will be following this hierarchy. First, we will go to target in order to look into it, then we'll go to source, mapping, session, and then finally the system. So these type of, and if you want to get more details, right, on the same, then as I said, that you can simply go to a help file, we go to the contents, and then there is a performance tuning guide. Here it is, right? Performance tuning overview.
Okay.
See.
Okay.
You can just go through simple these steps. It's a small PDF. You can read it whenever you get time, and it will definitely help you with this. Okay?
Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Bindu. All right. So I can see I have a raised hand. Yes, Lakshmi, please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to know, what kind of challenging questions do we expect in interview?
The challenging questions will be like, as just I explained a few minutes back to Bindu, that what is the challenge on the real-time project that you faced. So I just gave you a sample, or I just showed you an example that in order to optimize a particular job, that was a challenge that we were facing, right? As well as if I'll talk about, they can give you scenarios also. We have a list of scenarios. I want to discuss it before the end of session, but we have a proper solution, so no need to worry about that. You can go ahead and you can try it at your end. They can ask you some questions like, let's suppose I have 100 records in my source table. I want the first record to be populated on the target 1, the second to the target 2, and the third to the target 3. And then again, the fourth one to the target 1, fifth target 2, and sixth target 3. How can I go ahead and implement that? So you need to develop a thought process that how you can use these transformations collectively in order to go ahead and achieve this scenario or solve this scenario. You got me?
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. I'll show you a couple of scenarios over here. We have that in the presentation. Okay? Sure. Perfect. All right, team. So let's quickly go ahead and see the workflow interview questions. We have some of the basic workflow interview question. What is Informatica workflow? We should be aware of that. That basically a workflow is developed in the workflow manager. It is constructed through connections, we have the sessions, right? And if we are going to trigger it, then one by one sequentially it's going to execute all the session or even the tasks also. Okay, so we are aware of that. Okay, what's the difference between a stop and abort? Whenever a particular job is executing in the workflow monitor, you can select that job, right click over it, and you can either stop it or abort it if you don't want it to be complete, right? So if while selecting the stop, right, on issuing the stop command, right, the integration service stops reading the data from the source, whereas it's not going to stop writing the data to the target, right? It continues processing the data to the target. And if we are going to select abort command, then it's going to do this both of them similarly. Okay, that means it's see, abort command has a timeout period of 60 seconds. If the integration service cannot finish the processing of data within the timeout period, it kills the DTM access and terminates the session. Okay, so these all are, this is the difference between stop and abort. Whenever a workflow is executing, you can right click over it and you can either stop it or abort it, right? This way you can find it in the workflow monitor. Okay, similarly, if we'll talk about a worklet, we have already discussed that what a maplet is, and similarly we can discuss that what a worklet is. Okay, so let me hear it from one of the team members. Sandhya. Sandhya, what do you say? What do we mean by a worklet? Any idea?
Yes, like in a worklet, we can create a reusable sessions.
Okay. All right, that's good. Let me hear it from one of more team member. Reusable workflow. Yes, that's correct. Harveen is saying the same thing. Worklet is a reusable workflow. So similarly, as we created maplet, we can create a worklet as well. So Informatica worklets allows us to specify or to apply reusability at the Informatica workflow level, right? We can follow the same thing, and this concept is very similar to the maplet. However, maplets apply reusability at the mapping level. That's absolutely correct. Okay, so we can go ahead and we can add different tasks, we can add different workflows, and we can go ahead and make it reusable. So that will behave as a worklet, and we can call it anytime in any other workflow also. Okay, so team, let's hear about a concurrent workflow. What do we mean by a concurrent workflow? Okay, I think, give me a moment. Okay, in the meantime, I'm just unmuting one of the team members so that you can explain me what do we mean by a concurrent workflow. Lakshmi, would you like to take up this question? In the meantime, I'm just opening the PPT. Yep.
Yeah, actually, I need to recap on it. I forgot.
Okay, all right. And what about others? Can I get a quick reply if anybody wants to take up this question? Okay, Bindu is raising her hand. Yes, Bindu, please go ahead.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, actually I'm not that much clearly remembered. Concurrent workflow, it is nothing but, we are having multiple sessions and the sessions are running parallelly.
Yes, okay, that's correct. We have sessions and they are running in parallel. So basically, if we'll talk about a concurrent workflows, I'll take an example so that you will be able to remember it properly. If I'll talk about a concurrent workflow, okay, now it's clear. I wanted you to see the screenshot. Okay, I'm taking an example. I have a table known as employees. Okay, now in that employees table, I have different departments, or I'll say, okay, the department number is 20 or department number is 30. Now I have two targets in the target table, and I want to load these all the data that is with employees 20 department ID to be populated to department 20 table, and I want department 30 data to be populated to department 30 table. I want to segregate it. So how can we do that? We can do that by the help of concurrent workflow. A concurrent workflow is a workflow that can occur that can run as a multiple instances concurrently. A workflow instance a representation of a workflow. That means it will be executing, but it will go ahead and execute it in parallel. That means at the same, if I want to go ahead and load only department 20 data, then I will right click on it and I'll say execute with department 20. So it will load the department 20. Whereas if I say I want to go ahead and load department 30 data, then I'll say right click and then I'll say execute with department 30. Let me tell you that where exactly you can find this option, right? In order to, first of all, in order to go ahead and create a concurrent workflow, right? You will go to workflow, edit. Let me show you that so that you can recall that. This is a question that people ask generally. So let me show you. Give me a second. Let's open this workflow manager. I'll show you the option from where you can go ahead and workflow. Okay, let me open any of the workflow. Opening anyone. Edit. Right. Then under general, we have an option. It's not checked out, that's why it's not enabled. But over here, if you can see, can you see my mouse pointer? Configure concurrent execution. Can you see this? Yes. Let me take a spotlight and let me show it to you. Can you see this option? Configure concurrent execution. We can go ahead and we can easily select that. And once we will do that, we'll get an option which says just in front of it, configure concurrent execution. And once you will click on that, a pop-up window will appear where you can go ahead and set up these details accordingly. Okay. And after that, once you will be executing this workflow, you need to go to right click on that, and then you will go ahead and select Start Workflow Advanced. Can you see this option? Start Workflow Advanced. You need to click on this, and once you will do that, you need to select your integration service. You'll say OK, and then executing Start Workflow. It will fail because but no worries. So it will execute the job accordingly. Okay, so this is how we can establish a concurrent workflow. And as we have not decided the concurrency over there, that's why it is not giving the option. But once you will go ahead and right click, say show advanced, after this you will get a window where it will ask you that with department ID 20 flow you want to go, or you want to go with department ID 30 flow. So at the same time, you can execute the mappings in two different manners. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I can see Lakshmi. Lakshmi, I have just unmuted you. You can speak up.
Yeah, I got it now. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you. I'm wrong. Sandhya is saying workflow is a set of tasks that are reusable. Okay. Let me go ahead and unmute you, Sandhya. Yes, Sandhya, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry, I didn't tell correctly. Like they are not the reusable sessions. They are the set of tasks and which are reusable.
Right, set of tasks that are reusable.
Yeah.
No worries, no worries. Okay, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and see the difference between a bulk load and a normal mode. We all should be aware of that. Can I get a quick reply from any of the team member? Let me go to Harveen. Harveen, I've just unmuted you.
Okay.
What do you mean by a bulk load and a normal load?
Like, is Harveen speaking or?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, anybody can take up, no problem. Please go ahead.
In bulk load, Informatica PowerCenter doesn't create the logs, so it will just dump the data into the database.
Okay.
Yeah, it's generally used for performance purpose. Whereas in normal load, it does create the logs, so you can, in case if you want to recover, you can recover the data.
Yep, that's correct. Okay, thank you. All right, Ishwari. I think you can self-mute yourself. No problem with that. Okay, thank you. So, guys, yes, that's correct. But the term of logs mean to say that we can go ahead and we will not be maintaining the database logs over here. While selecting the bulk load, we will not be creating the database logs. Whereas in case of normal load, we can go ahead and create the database logs. Okay, so that's the difference. If we can go ahead and use it while inserting large amount of data from source to the target data warehouse. Most of the time we use bulk load because we need to go ahead and it's a one-time load activity. If we are loading the complete set of records, then we can go ahead and load it. In case of normal load, it will be done. Why? Because on a regular intervals. If we have a daily scheduled jobs, we can go ahead and load them accordingly. So these all are the things that we perform, or this is the property that we select while a general transformation, general mapping while loading or while executing a normal mapping. Okay. So as we know that the database log is not going to be maintained, obviously bulk load will have the high performance, but normal load will have the normal lower performance, right? But obviously in case of logs we need it. So most of the time in real time world, bulk load we always select once we are loading the full load. Once we are doing the full load activity, then we select the bulk load when we have a small time frame window. Let's suppose I am working for a retail organization and their business shutters down for 3 hours or 4 hours or 8 hours, and we need to complete the entire load or the historical data to be loaded there in this time frame window. Then we need to select, we will be selecting bulk load option so that it can be done quickly. But after that, if we want the new data to be populated to the target system, as and when, rather with the updated data, and the jobs will be executing or will be scheduled, or we will schedule rather on a daily basis, then at that point of time, we will be selecting the normal load. So most of the time you will see normal, but in case of huge data population or loading high amount of data, we will select bulk load. Okay, so it is used mainly when the quality of the data is assured, and it can be used irrespective of the quality of the data. So these all are the generic points basically where you can go ahead and find the difference between a bulk load and a normal load operation. Okay. Right, guys. So we have covered a couple of scenarios over here. They are going to benefit you with these questions that we have just discussed. There are few of the scenarios also that is appearing here. So let me see the approach. Okay, what is the method of loading 5 flat files of having same structure to a single target? Would anybody like to participate in this? I want everyone to participate in this because this will be helpful for you, a lot helpful for you, because nowadays people ask scenarios. Can I get apart from Lakshmi and Bindu, can I get a volunteer who can go ahead and ask who want to take up this question and reply me that what is the method of loading 5 flat files of having same structure to a single target? Come on, guys. Okay, Ishwari, go ahead, please.
We can use indirect load method.
Yes. We can use indirect file load method. That's absolutely correct. Can you explain the process how we can do that?
Okay, we need to create a file with all the source files, including the directories.
Okay.
And you need to mention that file which contains these file names, source file name in that session properties, and then load it.
Perfect. Absolutely correct. Thanks, Ishwari, for your answer. That's absolutely correct, guys. We can go ahead and use indirect file load option in order to go ahead and load similar structured data files by mentioning the path in the text file that we are, the new text file that we are creating. We can mention the path over there. We can load it accordingly. This concept is known as indirect file load. Okay. Lakshmi is saying select indirect file load on session level. Yes, that's absolutely correct. We can go ahead and select indirect file load. That's good. All right, let's jump on to a different scenario. How do you load alternate records in different tables through mapping flow? What do you say, guys? Anybody? Can I have a volunteer? Let me hear it from Sandhya. Would you like to take this question? Hey,
No,
Sandhya, are you there?
Yeah, I'm not sure about it.
Okay. All right. Vasanta, would you like to take this up? Hey, Vasanta.
Yeah, hi Abhishek.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Guys, okay, you can think over it because this just try to develop this logic that which transformation you can use when, right? I just want you to go ahead and develop this because whenever you are going to appear for an interview, right? So this will be the most common approach that any interviewer is going to see. That with the help of you are able to explain the transformation, you are able to explain the architecture, the complete flow of Informatica, how exactly it works. Everything is good. Perfect. No problem. But if they are giving you a specific scenario, you need to at least give it a thought that which will be the transformation that I am going to develop or I am going to put in order to achieve the desired results. So if you see here, I'm just giving you a thought process. I can see I have a ping. Give me a moment. I'll come to you. How do you load alternate records into different tables through mapping flow? So that means I have a source where I have 100 records. I'm just taking an example. I have target 1 and target 2. Target 1 wants alternate records, right? The first record to be populated to that, the second to be populated to target 2, the third to be populated to target 1, fourth target 2, fifth target 1. So what we can think, either it's an even odd, right? So if we are going to take the modulus of divided by 2, right, using an expression, then we can segregate it, isn't it? We need to develop a thought process that how exactly we can achieve a particular target. Now, if you see here, what they are doing. First of all, they have given a sequence generator. Once the sequence generator is generating the sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 100, all the sequences will be generated. Okay. Now, what you'll do, right? In the expression, even one is odd and the other is even. See, the same thing that I just said a few minutes back. In the expression transformation, make two ports, one is odd and the other is even. Write the expression as below for the ports. Odd, that means if the next value that is going to be generated divided by 2 is equals to 0, then populate 1 or then populate 0. That means it's giving a flag to even or odd values, right? And then the vice versa thing is written for even. So what is forming two different groups? We are segregating the number of rows. Once that will be done, we'll take it to the router and we will populate the desired results, isn't it? So we need to develop a thought process in which we all are aware that now what all are the transformations that is available within Informatica. So we need to take care that we are populating the correct, or we should be aware that which transformation I'm going to use in order to achieve what, right? Okay, let's see one more example. I can see Lakshmi is saying, what if the files are not same structured? Okay, you're talking about indirect file load? No, we will not be able, this is not applicable to the different structure files. Alright, Lakshmi, it's only applicable to the same structure. Perfect. Okay. Alright, so let's see one more scenario. Let's try to hear it from you only. How do you load first and the last records in the target table? Guys, who want to take this up? Can I get a quick reply from all the team members? Come on, guys. Let's try it. Let's try it at least, right? Lakshmi is saying she wants to do. I have only 3 members active. No, it's not a 3-member class. There are lots of team members. Can I have somebody else this time? Dhruv, Harveen, and we have Vasanta. Same approach? Okay. Okay. I have just unmuted you, Harveen. What do you say?
Abhishek, I'm half asleep here. It's 4:30, but I'll give it a shot.
Yep.
You probably take a count of the records first, and as I said, similar approach because I think you have to keep tabs on the count to know the first and last. And
we can find it out with the rank. Won't you think so?
Yeah, I'm not aware of the rank transformation.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. I think you have completed your course or not?
I did, but it's been a while.
Oh, I understand. No problem. See, we can go ahead and okay, we are talking about the first and the last records, right? So we can drag and drop ports from the source qualifier to 2 rank transformation. I'm taking 2 rank transformation. Then we will create a sequence generator starting from 1 and connect the next value to both the rank transformations. Once we'll do this, right, in the properties, we can select it accordingly and then we will populate the data. You can see, guys, you have everything over here. The solutioning is also given. See, with this. So you can apply the same logic, try to develop the same logic and practice it at your end, right? Just take 100 records, try to populate the first record and the second record or in the last record to 2 targets and see how exactly we can work. So because these type of scenarios are the one that they are going to ask. That means it will be very helpful for you at that time. Alright guys, so let's go ahead. Let's move to the next scenario. Let me see. Okay. How do you load unique records into one target table and duplicate records into the different target table? That means this is a source. I want source ABC to be populated to this one where it is a unique one in the one table and the repetitive one in the other table. What do you say? Okay, let's go to Lakshmi. Lakshmi wants to try it up. Alright, Lakshmi, I'm just unmuting you. Just give me a moment. Please go ahead.
Yeah, we can use a sorter. 2 sorters, actually 2 sorter transformations. So one sorter, we can select the distinct option. And another one, we don't choose the distinct option so that we can have 2 targets one sorted transformation will connect to one target table and another one will connect to the another target table.
Okay. See,
So that
what they, yeah,
the
please go ahead.
duplicate records will go to the one target and all the records will go to the another target.
Agreed. Okay. You can do that. There is one more approach that is mentioned here. Rather than sorting it, they have taken an aggregator, right? Can we do it with the aggregator also, Lakshmi?
Yes, yeah, we can do that.
So they're performing the same action, but with the help of aggregator. Okay, so that's let's see one more quick scenario. What do you say? How you can load every nth record or every nth row from a flat file to relational database to the target or relational database to the target. Every nth row. Nth row means let's assume n is equal to 5. Then in the same way, even in odd, the same concept, we can divide by 5 or nth row. Anything that we want to take, the value of n, whatever we want to take, we can process it in the same manner. Right? It's the same thing, more or less the same thing. Okay, let's quickly move on to a different scenario. How to produce rows in target table with every row as sum of all previous rows in source table. Okay, you got it? They mean to say that this is a source table where the number 1 record is 200, number 2 is 300. But in the target, we want to add, we are taking a cumulative sum. We are just taking a cumulative sum of the complete column, right? So if you see the cumulative sum of at second quarter, I'm taking a row number 2, it becomes 500, and row number 3 it becomes 1000 because we are adding it. What do you say, guys? Anybody? Ishwari, would you like to take it? Or Bindu, Dhruv, Ishwari?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, we can use expression transformation and using a variable port, you can calculate the sum.
Okay, that's absolutely correct. We can take an expression transformation and we can do the calculation accordingly. That's the same example that is mentioned over here. Okay, so we will just load the source to mapping and then connect it to an expression transformation. In expression, we can add one column and make it as outputs and the salary port as input port, right? So we'll make use of the function named as cum. As I said, we are taking out a cumulative sum. So that's a cum to solve our problem rather using any complex mapping. So that's how we can easily go ahead and calculate the cumulative sum. If I'll talk about a real-time scenario, majorly cumulative sum is calculated in the insurance industry. Because in the insurance industry, we need to take care that when a particular person has claimed a particular policy, and if they have claimed it, on which month they have closed it. So these type of things happen. So that's why in insurance, we calculate cumulative sum. We have a few more examples like reading a source file with salary prefix $. In the target, the salary column must be stored in number. What do you say? How can we do that? Guys, that's an easy one, I think. We just need to segregate $sign. Need to remove $sign. Okay, you want to take up? All right, no worries. We can go ahead and we can simply write down the substr expression over here. We'll do this in the expression and we can make it by using this type of two integer substring. We are taking salary, then instr, we are removing the $sign, and we are uploading all the results. So we can easily do it by using only one single expression. Okay. One more scenario that we have is how to split the data of source column wise with respect to the primary key. Right. The explanation is mentioned over here that we can easily go ahead and split it. See, first try to understand that what exactly is the need, what we are trying to do, right? So if you see here, this is a first column, 10, A, B, 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 C, 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 D, 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 and E, E, E is a row value. And whereas in the other column, we have 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 4, 2. I want to segregate it on the basis of ID column, right? So how we can do that? Okay, anybody wants to take this up or, yep.
Yeah, we can create two target tables. From the expression, join the first column and the second column to the one table, and first and last to another table.
Okay, we can go here. We are taking an aggregator over here, and we are populating from aggregator. We are segregating it, populating the values to the expression. We can perform it in this way as well. Guys, basically there's not a definite way of performing or of getting your results. It's just the thought process that you need to develop. That how exactly we can achieve a particular target, right? So we can do it accordingly, and you can easily get the desired results with the help of the different transformations and their functionalities. This is one of the scenario wherein we need to split the data. So we are using aggregator, and after aggregator, we create an aggregator transformation and drag all the ports from the source qualifier to the aggregator transformation and group by the ID column, obviously. And if we are grouping by the ID column, so since we have a split, we have to split the columns in two different tables with the key column in each. So we are going to use two expression transformation. Each will take the key column and one non-key column. And then we will connect the aggregator transformation with each of the expression transformation and then create target definition based on the expression transformations and connect them accordingly. This is one method how exactly we can split on the basis of key column. Okay. All right. So one more scenario. If you have two columns in in the source table in which the column 2 may contain duplicate values, right? All the duplicate values in column 2 will be transformed as comma separated in the column 2 of the target table. It should be column separated in the target table. How we can do that? Any guesses? Anyone who wants to reply on this? Normalizer, what do you want to use? Yes, Bindu, I've just unmuted you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, maybe denormalizer.
Let's see. With the help of normalizer, we can segregate the comma separated values and we can populate it individually, right? But we need to achieve it vice versa over here. So what we are doing here is that we'll be, okay, you can see here, we will be doing it in the expression. We'll take a value, column 1, column underscore previous value we are declaring, and then we are concatenating it with the help of comma. So we are using concatenating in the expression and we are populating in the desired results. Okay. I'll suggest you to do one thing. You can first try populating from the target table to the source table and then try populating from the source table to the target table. You will easily understand the scenario.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, guys. So you can mute yourself back. Okay. Thanks, Ishwari. So we have few remaining questions of the administrator level interview questions, right? We should be aware of these administrator interview questions, but please do practice all these scenarios. Okay, Lakshmi is saying normalizer, incremental aggregator. Okay, perfect. The same thing I was saying. So these are a few of the scenarios that we just discussed. So an interviewer can go ahead and just give you these type of scenarios and ask you to go ahead and explain it on a piece of paper and a pen. That can also happen. But trust me, once you will start giving the interview, make it a habit. Once you will come back, write down those questions, write down those scenarios. And that's for sure that in the next third or fourth time or fifth time at the most, you will be able to crack those interviews. Because there is a similar set pattern of the scenarios, of those transformations, of the architecture questions that is going to be asked in an Informatica interview. So just make it a habit, start giving your interviews and just write down in a piece of paper and a pen whenever you will be back that this was a question that was asked and you was not able to answer. Find out the solution to create the scenario and go back to the next interview. I'm damn sure that you will be able to clear that interview. That is for sure. Because that's a trend, how exactly we should prepare yourself rather. Okay. All right, let's move on to the last section, administrator question. So what is a repository and difference between repository database and repository service? What do you say? Would anybody wants to take this up? Okay, I think, all right, Harveen, I understand. Please, you can hear the recordings. No problem. Thank you. It's late for you. You can hear the recordings. Okay. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and let me hear it from any one of the team member. Vasanta, would you like to take up this question? What is a repository and difference between repository database and repository service?
Yeah, hello Abhishek.
Yep, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear. A repository service actually manages the connections from the client applications, and it is a multi-threaded process which retrieves and updates the metadata, and which is hello.
Yep, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah, and updates the metadata also in the repository database tables.
Okay, that's correct. Thanks for your reply, Vasanta. Okay, all right. So guys, if I'll talk about a repository, what exactly a repository is? Informatica needs a database to be configured. Informatica also needs a database to be installed on it. So if you remember, when you were doing the installation, there was two different users that got automatically created, info_rep and info_dom. Do you remember that? At that time, info_rep is the repository that was created at that time, right? So repository is a segment of a database wherein we are creating it. We are just saving all the metadata information, which is object related information. So we are going to save the metadata like source definition, target definition, mapping details, maplet, workflow. We are going to save all these information over there, right? But repository service is a service which enables our integration service or our domain to contact to our repository. So that's the difference between a repository and repository service. Similarly, what is an integration service in Informatica? Integration service is nothing but it is an application service. It's an API basically, application programming interface. We write the code. So it is an application service in Informatica which runs the workflows and sessions. And it tells the Informatica server how to flow the data from source to the target. Right? We must have covered this in the first two classes. Right? It's already mentioned there. Okay, this is one of the common questions. PM rep and PM CMD. You must have heard about it. What is the difference between them, guys? Would anybody like to take this up? That what is the difference between PM rep and PM CMD? Hey guys, Bindu, Lakshmi, Ishwari, Vasanta, Sandhya, anybody? Okay, go ahead please, Ishwari.
Yeah, PMCMD is used for running the workflow.
And PM rep?
Yeah, PM rep, I think it is used for doing some repository tasks.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. So with the help, thanks for your answer. So PM CMD is enables us to execute a particular workflow. It starts the workflows, right? We can easily go ahead and by giving in the complete path, that is with repository name, folder name, the job name, with integration service, repository service. There's a proper syntax, proper command that we need to use it. And once we will be executing that command, it will enable a specific workflow to be executed. Whereas if I'll talk about PM rep is a command that performs like some task like connecting to a repository and checking whether it's working or not, then taking up a backup of that repository, right? Creating different folders, the work folders, right? And importing and exporting repository objects. So these all are this is the difference between a PM CMD and PM rep. That's a PM rep actually. Okay. So if I'll talk about one more question, that how we can go to the older version of a mapping. It's in the versioning part. Once you need to go ahead, let me show it to you. This is a mapping. I can simply go ahead and I'll right click over here, say versioning, I'll say view history. Once I'll see history, I will be able to see all the history, that is what all other changes that's been done. No, there are not many changes, that's why it's not appearing here. But if there will be any history, that means if we are doing check-in and check-out again and again, leaving our comments, then it will be saved over here. We can find it out over here. Okay. All right, guys. So nodes. I think that this is the last question. Correct. For today's session, what is a node, right? How many types of nodes are there? Would anybody like to take this up? Lakshmi. Okay. I can see I have raised hands. Yes, Lakshmi, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, why not? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so since we have practiced Informatica on Windows, what if they ask about Unix? Do you practice on Unix? I mean, did you work on Unix or not? So
yes, most of the times the Informatica is always installed on Unix boxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Unix boxes means, are you aware of a Unix box like, if I say, let me... have you ever worked on a Unix box? When SCP or the PuTTY? No?
No, I didn't get it.
Okay, let me show you a quick review, but I'll not be able to log in and show it to you because it has my client sensitive data, so I'll not be able to show that, but I can show you the application at least, right? This is the command prompt, right? That how exactly it looks like?
Yes.
You know, right? This is a command prompt.
Yeah.
Okay. We can go to the desired path and we can execute a job. But overall, if you go here, there is a PuTTY. We can execute this PuTTY like this, and we need to put in the proper details, and we can log in. It will work as a command. To replicate the same thing, we have WinSCP. This is a Windows type of thing wherein you can find out different, see if I'll log in, but I need to connect to my VPN, then only I'll be able to log in over here to my client network, which is not required. I'm just showing you a demo. So once I'll do that, it will show you the same type of structure as we have on the left hand side. This is my Windows and this is my server side of structure. And all the folders will be created, and I can go ahead and copy from one place to another. I can copy, right? So it will give you the physical path that where exactly you have all the things installed. So you can easily go ahead and copy one file to that. So it's just a Unix environment is also, you can say, it's just a parameter. If I'll talk about Informatica folder, we keep a parameter file as a specific location. So for all the different environments, for dev, QA, prod, we will have dedicated folders. And in that dedicated folders, we will have different parameter files, different objects, information, everything will be saved over there. Right, so there are two methods of executing it or accessing it. Once we can go ahead and do it by putty, as I showed you the black and white screen. You can go ahead and log in from there as well as from the WinSCP. So obviously you can easily explain it that yes, we had three different folders. One was dev, one was QA, and the other one was prod, and we used to populate the data accordingly, or we used to keep our folders or keep our flat files in that place from where my Informatica used to read those files and load the data to the target database. Simple.
That means that putty.exe, there we load the, those files, we store the files there?
Yes.
Okay.
You can save the file. You can, putty is a method of accessing those things actually. Okay, let me unmute Bindu as well. She wants to speak up. Just give me a moment. All right, Bindu, I have just unmuted you. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Bindu, please go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, you told like the putty thing, the Unix box. So could you please show me once again that screen?
Sure. See, basically, if you will see here, just understand this WinSCP. This will be better. Once you will go to the WinSCP, over here, this is a Linux box, right? This is a Linux box, and if I log in over here, it's not showing me at the moment, but if I log in over here, I can easily go ahead and see the folders that is residing here. And I can copy from one place and keep my files over here on the right hand side. Okay? Okay, so similarly, in order to access this right hand side, the server location, I can use my putty. I can go to the putty, I can log into the putty.exe, and easily I can, with the help of CD and then giving the path, I can access those files also. You got me? So that's a Unix box, how it looks like. Rest you can definitely, you can go ahead and YouTube. In the YouTube, you can see the WinSCP structure, that how you can query in. That will be a help for you.
Okay. And one more question. So actually, we know the ETL structure, like we will be taking the source files and we will load in the target. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you properly. Please go ahead.
So, we will be having in data warehousing layers like source layer and the staging layer and the presentation layer. Where does the ETL will come into the picture? Like we will take the source and we will load into the target from the source to staging and staging to presentation?
It can appear anywhere. Let's suppose if I want to read the data from my source system and I want to populate it to my staging area, right? Then also I'm going to use Informatica. Maybe I don't want to apply any logic. I can directly map one-to-one and I can load the data directly to the staging tables, isn't it?
Okay.
So right, and then from staging to target. Let's suppose I want to go ahead and populate the data. Again, I will use those set of ETL jobs, but this time I want to load my data as per my target requirement. By the term target requirement means going forward, once my data will be loaded to the target environment, after that, the reporting tools like ClickView, Cognos, Tableau, they are going to use my target database as their source in order to go ahead and reflect the data into the reports or the dashboards. You got me?
Okay.
Right? So accordingly, I'll put the business logic in my new ETL jobs now, that is populating the data from the staging area, and to the database. So I'll apply my business rules over there and I populate the data.
Okay. So, I mean, the ETL developers will not touch the reporting tools. They will only be doing the developing part.
No, we will not be touching the reporting side. We will populate the data till database, and from database there will be a different set of developers or who will be trained in the reporting areas, and they are going to use your target database as their source for the reports and dashboards.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. And one more thing, I mean, how to present to the interviewer, like, suppose if he asks where you are getting the source files, who are giving it to you, and where you are keeping it. So how to answer those type of questions?
In order to go ahead and just, have you ever worked, or it's a first time you're preparing for an IT interview?
I'm first time preparing. I'm first time preparing. Yeah.
Okay. Then just think in this manner. You need to simply go ahead and think like interacting, or I'll give you a scenario. I have a company, A, that's a big company. They took over one more company, B.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm just giving you an example. Now, the A was a bigger company. They took over a smaller company, B. Now, if I'll talk about A system was up and running fine. The business users of the A system was able to generate the reports. Now, when they took B system, now what they want, now the management wants to go ahead and see A and B data together, isn't it? That will happen, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I did at that time, now when the third, this B's data was introduced, I just created a parallel ODS. A parallel ODS, just a replica of my existing system, A, right? And then I populated the data over there. Once I did that, then from there, I populated the data to my staging area, which was again the same, or rather you can say, which was the same database, which was for A, or it was a common A staging area that where I populated the B's data in the same format. So now that staging area had A and B both together. With this, what I did, I just applied a column with a flag, or which states the source type, whether it is from A or whether it is from B, right? So now the data has been merged, and then I just populated the data to the target tables, right? And then I populated the data to the target tables, my target database. So now my target database is having A and B data together. But yes, there will be a flag, or there will be a identification, or that which claim or which row is coming from which system. You got me?
Yeah.
Right. So this is just a thought process I just created right now. Right. So you need to explain it in this manner. So you can say that this is an integration project, obviously, because you are integrating data from A and B. So it's an integration project.
Yeah.
That's it. That will do.
Oh, okay.
So that will, right? You just need to give the names now to A and B and plan it accordingly. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, he may ask like how you are taking the files from source files. How you are taking it? Do we use any third party?
It's not about files only. If I'll talk about source systems, it can be anything. It can be SAP, it can be XML, it can be source files, your flat files, it can be your RDBMS system. Right. So how you are taking the flat files? Then you can say that it's a shared place wherein I was receiving the files with the help of FTP. They were FTPing file transfer protocol. They were FTPing those flat files and giving it to the shared system, from where we were reading up the data and populating to the database. Perfect.
Okay. Okay. So we can say the push and pull concept also, right?
Push and pull concept, no, you don't use this word push and pull concept. Just simply say we were FTPing, I was getting the flat file with the help of FTP, which we're using as a source and populating the data to the RDBMS system.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm asking too many questions. I had
No, I understand. And that's really nice that you are asking it, because at the end of the day, what our motto is to make you equipped for the interview only, right? For the interview. So that's our main goal from Edureka, from me. We are putting in efforts to do the same. So that's why it's very good that if you are asking the question. In fact, in my batch, I love to take up the questions, and I just make sure that nobody is sitting idle or nobody is sitting silent. I just interact with them like anything.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one more thing, actually, I heard like control M autos is the schedulers. So
Yes.
to schedule the job. So
Okay.
I mean, how can we? I mean, where
Sure.
this part comes? Yeah.
Okay, sure. Definitely, I'll let you know. Basically, what happens, I'll come to you, Lakshmi. Just give me a few minutes. Let me end up the question over here that Bindu is asking, and then I'll come to you. Okay? All right. About Control M and AutoSys, what happens that Informatica, it is not only Informatica that we are talking about. It can be about your other types of jobs, like scheduling or a batch job. We can go ahead and schedule a batch job also. So we have third-party schedulers like AutoSys, like Control M. So what they do, they help us to schedule a specific job, no matter which type of job it is, and it will execute that job at your desired time with the proper dependency conditions.
Okay.
Okay, let's suppose if I have 10 jobs which are interdependent on each other, that the first job will execute and then only the second one will execute. Then in the condition, I'll give them in the second job's condition that first should be succeeded, then only the second should trigger at this desired time. So this is how we have in market, we have multiple tools that are available. I'll again request you to go to YouTube. It's a very good way to learn the things in a short span of time. Just go ahead, type in AutoSys. You will automatically learn everything.
Yeah.
That how exactly we schedule a job. It's very easy.
Yeah.
Right? You can easily learn that.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So any other questions that we have, Bindu, or shall I move to Lakshmi now?
Yeah. One more question.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, as a developer, do we need to do any unit testing also?
Yes, we do. And we need to perform the unit testing. Obviously, we are playing around with the data, and at the end of the day, the correct data should be populated to the target. So the unit testing that we will be doing will be on the data level, on the database level. We'll go ahead and check whether the exact or the required data have been populated to the target tables or not. We'll do it. We need to do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, all my questions are done. So I think we can have like this Informatica interview sessions, right? Like every weekly once or.
But I think that for this, Edureka team will be the best people to answer you. I'm not sure that how exactly they have a plan, but they are the right one who can answer you on the same. All right?
Thank you. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. All right, guys. So let me speak to Lakshmi. Yeah, Lakshmi, you have had some questions, right?
Yes, yeah. Can we load only few records, like 3 records or 5 records, using parameter file?
3 records or 5 records using parameter file. That is not. I didn't get you by that. Means in the source you have 100 records, let's suppose, and in the target you want to load only 3 records, right?
Using parameter file, can we do that?
Using parameter, yes, you can do that. You can parameterize the condition. Like if I'll say that I have 3 records present only in department number 10, I can go ahead and make it make department number 10 as a parameterized.
Okay.
And then it will automatically pick up only 3 records, not more than that, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do we really cleanse the data in Informatica?
There are multiple things. We have IDQ, Informatica Data Quality, that we have available, and we can easily cleanse our data using IDQ. There is a separate jobs that will be created. If you see here in the Informatica, let me show it to you. I'll go here. Informatica data transformation. No, just give me a moment. Server. No, it's data transformation only, and no, that's not the thing. Give me a second. I'll show you. Server. I think I wanted to show you studio. No, it's not the studio data transformation. Give me a moment. No, basically it's not available with me, I think. Otherwise, we can go ahead and we can definitely use Informatica data quality, and we can easily just cleanse the data by data profiling it. Yep.
But in PowerCenter, we can do that, right? No, data cleansing won't be happen in PowerCenter.
No. You can definitely do that. You can definitely do that if by the term cleansing means just cleaning the data, right? But data profiling is a separate activity, and if you want to cleanse the data as per your business requirement, you can do that using different transformations, isn't it?
Yeah, someone told me that in Informatica you are not really doing the cleansing the data. That's what they told me.
No, it completely depends on the scenario, at what exactly you want. See, cleansing word itself means cleaning the data, right? So
Yes.
whether you are doing on the data level, then it becomes a data profiling. If you're doing it on the metadata level, it becomes MDM, master data management. And if you are cleansing it as per your business logic, then it is with the help of different transformations. You can do that.
Okay. Oh, yeah. And how do we validate all the mappings in the repository at once?
I didn't get you. You want to validate all the repository. I didn't get you by that.
All the mappings in a single repository at once, one time actually.
You need to just select them, right click. No, I think, let me check. You can check that. You need to right click and then just click on validate, and it will be
So we have to select all the mappings and just right click and validate.
No, I don't think so that you can do it all in one go, but you need to check it. You can do it by one or one go. You can check in and check out in one go. That is for sure. But validating is, I think, applicable to one per mapping or one per workflow. It will not be in one go. Yep.
And we get this recording, right, for us?
Yes. This recording will be given to you.
Okay. And if you want more sessions like this, we have to ask Edureka.
I think they are the right one who can let you know. I'm not sure on that part, please. They are the right one who can let you know with that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. All right, guys. So I think today's session was helpful for you all, and it was informative as well. Yes, Aishwari, please go ahead.
I have one last question about this concurrent workflow only. I'm not aware of this previously, so I just want a few more details about it. Like you were saying here, instance name and the parameter file name here in this screenshot. Like for each instance, we will define the different targets.
Yes, for each instance, we are defining a different target. That's correct.
Okay, but do we define it? Then we need to have multiple mappings, right?
Yeah, no, but when you are going to execute it, you will say right click and execute advanced option. Once you will go to that, it will give you a pop-up that with which flow you want to go. So if you want to select go with the department ID 20 table, then only that flow will execute, not the 31. And after that, the 30 will execute, not the 21. So it works like this.
My question is, so
like
for,
if you see,
for department...
let me explain you again. If you see here, we have three concurrent groups: CA orders, NV orders, and TX orders. Right? Once you will execute this workflow, you need to go ahead and right click on a workflow, go to workflow advanced. Once you will do that, a pop-up window will appear wherein you will find all these three options over there. And once you will select CA orders option, right, it will execute that job, but at that time it will execute with the CA orders flow. And all the records with CA orders is going to be populated. And then again, if you are going to execute it with the same option with NV orders, then only with NV orders will flow.
But the target will be the same, right? It's the underlying mapping is one, right?
No, the target will be different. You should have a different targets also.
That means do we have multiple mappings? Okay.
With single mapping, you are populating three different targets.
Oh, okay, got it. So you see, since we are selecting it manually, when we are scheduling the jobs, can we schedule concurrent workflows?
To be honest, I've never tried that. I need to Google it out. I've never tried that, but I think that we can do that. But at that time, we need to put in the runtime, maybe the values. But, to be honest, I have not done that. You can Google it out, or you can ask your trainer, or anytime you can get back to us. I'll reply to you once I'll look into it. No problem with that.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, guys. So I hope today's session was informative for you. Any other questions that we have, or we are good to close the session for today? Okay. So thanks, thank you, and please do share your feedback. with the teams. It will be helpful, and let us know if you are stuck with anywhere, and we are there to help you anytime. Thank you. Thanks, Steve. Thank you, Lakshmi. Thanks, Sandhya. Thank Ishwari. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed listening to this video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries, and we will reply to them at the earliest. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to our Edureka channel to learn more. Happy learning!